Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As a reminder, I'll wait as they come in. For those who are just coming in, please sign the attendance sheet. There's one for residents and one for non-residents. If you would like to make public comment, please indicate that.
I'm just going to go back
Okay.
and grab the sheet when everybody is signed in.
Okay.
Loudspeaker's on now. Should be.
Speakers on?
Should be.
Okay. All right, well, as everyone settles in, we will move on to agenda item number 2, approval of the minutes from the 2025 annual meeting. There should be copies
Make sure
of
you
those.
sign in,
I'll
the
entertain
resident
any
and
motions for
non-resident
approval.
sheet, and also if you'd like to speak.
Okay, do I have a second? Second. All in favor? Or any comments regarding the meeting minutes? Okay, hearing none. All in favor of approval of the meeting minutes of the 2025 annual meeting as presented, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. We will move on in a minute, once they're signed in, to swearing in of our town board supervisors. Just bear with us for one moment.
Would Jimmy DiGidio and Joan McGowan Merlin come forward, please? Raise your right hand. Please say aye and state your name.
I, Jimmy DiGidio,
Having been elected or appointed to the office of Town Board Supervisor,
Having been elected or appointed to the office of Town Board Supervisor,
swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties
and will faithfully and impartially
discharge the
discharge
duties
duties
of said office to the best of my ability.
of said office to the best of my ability.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Welcome, Joni. Hey.
Oh, we got some reverb.
Okay. Can others hear that?
Yeah, I think so, but I think it's coming off the speaker mic. I don't think it's mine.
Okay.
Here, but I'm not quite sure.
All right. We'll move on to agenda item number 4. Resolution honoring Tom Jensen for his service to the town of Oakland. I'll read that for you. Whereas Tom Jensen served as a Town of Oakland Board Supervisor from July of 2007 to April of 2026, 19 years of outstanding emeritus service. And whereas Tom has served the people of this township with fairness and dedication, whereas the Town of Oakland Board of Supervisors recognizes Supervisor Jensen's public service, foresight, leadership, and thoughtfulness. Therefore, be it resolved that we, the Town of Oakland Board of Supervisors, do hereby extend to Tom Jensen our sincere and grateful appreciation for his dedication service to the Town of Oakland, Jefferson County, Wisconsin. Our congratulations and our best wishes for continued success, happiness, and good health in the years to come. Will be adopted this day by the Town of Oakland Board of Supervisors. I don't believe Tom is here, but we are very grateful for his service, and thank you. Okay. We will move on to number 5, 2025 Draft Town Audit. There are copies of the draft audit in the back. Please feel free to take a copy of the audit for your review. Next month, during our monthly meeting, that's the third Tuesday of the month, we will have the auditors here to go over the audit that they've prepared. Feel free to attend and listen to what the auditor has to say. So thank you. We'll move on to discussion and possible action on establishing the date and time for the 2027 annual meeting. It will be next year, Tuesday, April 20th, 2027 at 6:30 p.m. in the town hall. All are welcome to attend. Moving on to residents' comments, concerns, questions, and answers. We have a list of people who have registered to make a comment. In the interest of time, with all the comments and our meeting following, we ask that you limit your comments to 3 minutes. If we can answer them readily, we will do so now. If not, we will do research and get back to anyone with answers. As always, anyone is welcome to reach out to me or any of the town supervisors or the town clerk with any questions they may have. Thank you. Okay. Okay, so we'll start with Tim Scott. Okay, please state your name and address.
Tim Scott, N4342 Park Drive, Cambridge. At the time you're pulling out of the Cambridge Community Fire District, I had 31 years of service serving the town of Oakland. No resolutions necessary. I have a newspaper out here from the Lake Mills Leader from September 8th, I believe, 2025. The 100-some people in the Pack Council chamber stood and applauded at the Lake Mills City Council meeting September 2nd. They were celebrating firefighters, EMS workers who saved a life. On May 20th, Terry Phelps, Whitewater, stopped at the Quick Trip in Lake Mills on his way up north. He would come very close to death in the coming minutes. As he stood in line, Phelps began to suffer a cardiac event, said Lake Mills Fire Chief Jason Russ. The initial 911 call came in at 10:47 a.m. and police and fire were dispatched for a man believed to be pulseless and not breathing, and no CPR was currently being done at the time, Russ said. Fire Department Captain Joel Thader happened to be heading north on Main Street near the Subway restaurant and immediately diverted to the scene, assuming he heard it on his pager. Sometimes things are just in the right place at the right time, Russ said. By 10:52 a.m., Russ and Thader were at Phelps' side, immediately requesting paramedic intercept from the city of Jefferson, starting CPR himself. Russ and Lake Mills police soon arrived, and a shock from an AED was delivered. Fire departments paid on-call members, who Russ called the real meat and potatoes behind our department, also soon arrived with an ambulance and engine to assist. They took their place in the chain of survival, Russ said. Upon the arrival of the intercept medic, things were in place so that the medic could immediately begin their life-saving cardiac medications in their advanced airways. The statistics show that 350,000 out of hospital cardiac arrests occur annually, with 90% of them resulting in death and less than 10% resulting in survivability. Goes on to talk quotes from Jay McNeil, and one of his important quotes: because every minute that goes by when you're in cardiac arrest, you lose 10% survivability. So if it takes 10 minutes for us to get there, it's close to 100% fatal. And nothing I do in the hospital, the cath lab, the intensive care unit, and is going to resolve that situation if the patient doesn't get CPR in the AED shock right away. So first of all, well done, Lake Mills. I'd like to say that I have been in this very situation a handful of times in the town of Oakland. The most meaningful for me was my neighbor's daughter. She went into sudden cardiac death while training for a triathlon in the lake. Luckily, there was a boat patrol and Oakland PD on the boat patrol. Got notified by radio when I arrived because it was at our frontage, Laura. CPR is in progress, was able to assist with that. Was able to get EMS to the pier because they never would have found us. They would have drove right by because we're down so low. She survived. She went on to, she's dedicated her spare time, a lot of her spare time, to raising funds for AEDs and for Lucas devices. Now, if that were to happen tomorrow, I would have no idea what was going on. None. And that's, you have drastically reduced the survivability of the people on the far end of the town of Oakland. I
Your 3
understand why it
minutes are up.
happened, but
Your 3
it's gotta
minutes are up.
change. You've gotta do something about the
Your 3
response
minutes
time.
are up.
You have to do something about that.
Thank you.
Best paramedic in the world cannot bend time.
Okay. Kristen Blackwood?
Am I able to speak as an Oakland
For the
resident,
residents.
or do I need to wait for these other meetings?
If she's on the list, she should be able to speak. She
Okay.
can't vote on things, but she can speak.
Okay, you can speak. Come on up, please.
Thank you. My name is Kristen Blackwood, and I'm a resident of the Village of Cambridge, a trustee of the village, president of the Cambridge Community Fire and EMS Commission, and a registered nurse for 13 years. My original intention in speaking tonight was to address the board regarding their choice to move away from the district and contract for the services with Lake Mills, Jefferson, and Port Atkinson. However, understanding that there are some differing opinions on the topic in the front of the room, I also want to speak to the folks in the back of the room. I've been CPR certified since the age of 16 and would like to speak with you about the critical reality of the response times in your communities. When a heart stops, we aren't just fighting the clock, we are fighting the rapid onset of biological death. In a pulseless event, also known as clinical death, there is a golden window of just 4 to 6 minutes before permanent brain damage becomes a near certainty. By the 10-minute mark without intervention, survival is statistically rare. For every 60 seconds that passes without chest compressions or a defibrillator, an individual's chance of survival decreases by 10%. It's important to understand that clinical death is reversible, biological death is not. The ability to remain within the reversible window depends entirely on the chain of survival, immediate CPR and rapid AED access. The departments currently serving you do provide quality service, but what they cannot provide for you is timely service. And in this business, seconds are truly the difference between a life saved and a statistic. It is no secret that the sins of the past have led us to where we are today. At what point, not too long ago, I sat right next to you at the same table with your board members, frustrated and frantic to right the sinking ship of the commission. I supported the Village of Cambridge's withdrawal from the commission in 2023. I am proud to report that the commission of today is not the same as 2023. For the last 11 months, our representatives have prioritized transparency and financial discipline, conducting monthly reviews of detailed financial statements to ensure strict budget oversight. In 2025, we paid over $150,000 of past due bills from 23 and 24, and still ended approximately $175,000 under budget. We have competent leadership on the EMS side who is invested in rebuilding our service and providing quality care with no self-serving goals in mind. We continue to have the competent leadership on the fire side and a strong roster of dedicated volunteers serving our community and yours, and who recently completed the process for members to become EMR certified, ensuring quality and timely care in our communities. The most significant win is the IGA amendment requiring a unanimous vote for budget approval, moving away from the majority where no community should ever be held hostage by another. We've fixed the system that it serves the people, not the politics. I'm not here to argue over money or contracts. I'm here to advocate for your survival. I urge this board and this community to look beyond the grievances of the past and look at the reality of the clock. Let's stop building dams. Let's build a bridge that ensures when a neighbor's heart stops, help is 3 to 4 minutes away, not 12 to 15.
3 minutes is up.
Don't let a political boundary become a barrier to a saved life.
Thank you. Jackie Fry?
So I'm Jackie Fry. I live at W9098 Blue Waters Pass in town of Oakland. Almost 2 years, moved from Cambridge, so went from Cambridge to the town of Oakland. I echo exactly what she said, so I won't repeat any of that. Just looking to see what the future looks like. My concerns are response times, where we are with creating a new governmental agreement possibly, and hopes of Oakland maybe returning to the commission and having a great commission. A couple of questions that came up when I was thinking about some of this is, and I don't know if you can answer, but if my husband had a heart attack or my mother-in-law or somebody visiting and we called 911, do we have the ability to request Cambridge to come to our home quicker? Do we answer now or no? Is that,
That's not an option.
that's not an,
Is that correct?
It's on your agenda, Q&A.
No, that's not what I meant.
it's not an option for us to request.
No.
So let's ask the Fort Fire Chief, what's his answer? So for you to page us out, what do you need to do?
If I wanted Cambridge to come quickly and they were available, if it was, can I say send Cambridge? Please send Cambridge.
Chief Russ,
No?
Chief Peterson, is that something that when you do a 911 call, that they can just request somebody, or it's just who's ever available? It may not even be Cambridge is available at that moment.
No, if a 911 call comes in, whoever's district it is will be dispatched, and we'll respond and take care of the call. If we're unavailable, we will request mutual aid from the closest unit.
So the caller can't request Cambridge? That's the answer? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And then, can Oakland's 10-year agreement with Fort and Lake Mills be modified and changed if you decide, you guys wanted to, if the board agreed and wanted to modify the 10-year agreement sooner?
We would have a penalty of 3 years of service.
But it can happen, it can be done? It could be done? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Lynn Klipstein.
Lynn Klipstein, N4505 Warren Avenue. I would like to say I was one of the people that was pushing for us to leave the Fire Commission due to the fiscal irresponsibility and some of the IGA issues and such. I believe what Kristen Blackwell has done, as well as other members of the commission that are new, is exactly what we were asking for. And so now I feel like, where are we in that part of the conversation to be able to have a conversation with them to see what we could do? We might not be able to get rid of all of our services. I know we parcel them out to different places. Is there something we can do? What is our annual savings right now from having left the Fire Commission? Would it make sense to work another piece with them that maybe they respond to the 2-tier high-level P&B calls and life-threatening calls to increase that time? We also had talked about the mobile home process when this was going on, to have a site there to actually have an ambulance. Has that conversation continued and maybe provided that by Lake Mills or whatever municipality that we're in connection with? Has that been talked about? I'd like to know right now is what has been the discussion since we've left. Have we looked at the data of our calls? I was in a situation, called 911 for a person that was hurt at one of the businesses on Highway 12. It took 14 and a half minutes from the time I called until someone showed up. Thank God that that person's life was not in jeopardy, but the concern is when it is 15 minutes, like it was explained, it could be a life lost. And I know you haven't received those complaints, and that as a resident, that was my fault for not putting that complaint in, and going forward, I will advise anyone who has that concern to do that. My next question is, what data has been looked at as far as the call, from the time the person puts the 911 call in to the time that the emergency care is actually given to the person? Again, I wonder what type of conversations have been happening with that, and I'd like to make a motion that the Town of Oakland Board meet with the Commission Board to have a conversation about some of what could happen or what we could change in order to make sure residents in Oakland get faster services, especially when it is in the health, or when it comes to life-saving. So I'd like to make that motion.
Okay, so any motion you make such as that,
Yes.
we would need a second. We have ballots, but that would be,
Can I just have someone say second?
I second.
There we go.
okay, so that would be advisory
Okay.
only.
All right.
Trying to get to your questions.
I also have something else before my time's up. Can I also make a motion that any member of the town board as supervisors can add items to the board agenda for any of the meetings, including the annual as well as the regular meetings, that any board member can put an item on the agenda? Can I have a second?
I second that.
Thank you. What else do I got here?
The 3 minutes are up.
Oh, that's all I need. Thank you.
Okay, so Lynn, I'll try to answer some of the questions that you had. We did, back in 2024, spend about $40,000 or more in attorney fees to come up with an IGA after leaving.
And since it's Q&A, that was with the previous commission members, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
And I want to just note the fact that there has been a drastic change in that leadership as well as the members of the board. We know what we were dealing with when we were dealing with members of that last commission.
But we did put together a proposal of IGA that's still out there. No one from the commission has ever addressed that, so we did need to move forward with having services. So we, last fall, we did contract again with Fort Atkinson, Jefferson, and Lake Mills. Sorry,
I don't know what's causing that feedback. It might be that mic's too loud.
Are there any electronics by it?
Just my phone that I'm using to.
And it's just, and my mic should not be interfering with it. We have established that it wasn't, like, my mic's bouncing off of that one, because they're separate things.
okay. Just so much feedback. Can you hear the feedback, or is it just us?
It's a nice.
No, it's.
Buzzing. So at this time, we do have contracts with other communities. We have always had contracts with Jefferson and Fort Atkinson for the eastern part, and they both moved in further. So at this time, we do have contractual obligations to uphold. There would be a lot to go to get out of those contracts. We have been providing very good service to our community. We feel strongly that they do provide excellent service. As our contracts get near to renewal, that is something.
You're okay with a 15-minute wait time?
We have no indication of that. So
Can I ask a question? This was one of my questions within my 3 minutes. What data do you have about the call responses? Because I know I've been here a couple times and there's been no report done. So as a resident, I wasn't able to even hear it when I've been to the meeting. I know I've been to less, but I'm just wondering what data have they seen? Or can you put that data on the website or share that so we can see what those response calls are being reported as to make sure that they're, I know that you can get the data off some sort of.
yeah, you can have a public records request through Jefferson County to do that. We can talk to the police the fire chiefs about providing some info.
You don't have that data? I mean, you guys haven't put that request, as our representatives telling us it's safe, have you guys seen the data that actually then supports that comment?
The data I have seen for many of the calls, I have not done all of the calls,
Okay.
but to the furthest point, it is roughly 11, 12 minutes at the most. The time to leave the stations is excellent. It is well under like a minute and a half. It depends on the day, but it's a very short time to get out the door.
You have that data in front of you right now that you're
I do not. If you would like the data, please feel free, but please hold your comments until you come up to speak. So that is data that can be received, but I do not have that data at this moment, no.
And then how much, my other question I'd asked during my 3 minutes was, what's been our annual savings from change, and has there been, I should ask, or is there a higher expense? What's that, where are we with that situation?
Currently, for all 3 services, it's $435,000 roughly. So if we had, when we had the Cambridge Commission, we still had Fort Atkinson and Jefferson, and I don't know offhand how much it was, but it is significant savings at about $1.4 million at the time. That would be $700,000 for us, plus the other 2 services. So right now, it would be probably more than double.
So if I understand what you're saying, that for emergency services, we were paying about $700,000, and currently we're paying $435,000.
Yes.
So if the residents were
That would
pushing-
just be 700 just for it was about 600, 700,000. I don't have that number in front of me. For just the Cambridge, it would have been more adding in.
So we're saving
for-
a crap ton of money. is what you're
Yes.
saying. So is
Yes.
there any way to stop saving that kind of money and actually invest it into getting services? Like I said, could we work a deal out with the village and say, hey, if it comes in as a delta, or whatever the 2 highest levels, that actually then they would have the commission? I mean, could we work something like that out?
I don't have that answer at this time.
But it could be a part of the discussion that I put the motion in for.
Okay. All right, so there's a motion. The first motion is, what was the motion?
The first motion was for the town board here to meet with the fire commission and have some discussions. I believe that's what the motion was, correct?
Okay, so
And
do you,
review of the data, yeah.
Are we writing these down for the minutes?
we need to write
I am going to be putting all of I will go back and review the video, and then I will put all of the minutes together from that so I don't miss any comments.
Can you please pass out the ballots?
Well, do you want to do ballots, or do you want just a show of hands?
We can do a show of hands only for the town of Oakland residents. If you are not from the town of Oakland and not eligible to vote here, you cannot vote. So we could do a show of hands.
Can you repeat the motion?
You calling the question now? You calling the question?
Yeah.
All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Second motion was for any member of the board, I believe, to be able to put an agenda item or an item on the agenda of either this meeting or the regular town board meeting. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
Okay. Please be aware that we have not been invited to any meeting.
You have not.
I have never been in, the town of Oakland has never been, since we have left the commission, we have never been invited to a meeting.
Okay. And then invited into a conversation, though, so none of that?
No, none of that has occurred. Okay, so we will move on to the next person, Joy Graffin. Oh, I thought it was me. Oh, I'm sorry. It is you, Lauren, I'm sorry. Turned the page too quickly. My apologies.
I'm sorry, but there was no mention of a 3-minute deadline on the notice, so I intend to read my full statement. My name is Lauren Kelly, N4203 Sleepy Hollow Road, and I'm here tonight to provide an update and make a direct and urgent request regarding fire and EMS service in our community. Since Oakland left the Cambridge Fire and EMS District at the end of 2024, there have been significant changes, as another speaker just mentioned. The commission has new leadership, has amended its IGA, and is actively working to address the challenge of delivering affordable EMS service while maintaining critically important response times. At the time Oakland withdrew, alternative coverage options were put in place as a short-term solution, and the possibility of continuing to work with Cambridge was supposed to remain on the table. However, Cambridge Fire and EMS was never reconsidered, and instead longer-term contracts were executed with 3 neighboring communities. I want to be clear, this is not a criticism of those providers. I have no doubt they are capable and professional. What I am questioning is proximity. When there's a station approximately 90 seconds from my home, but emergency services are dispatched from Lake Mills, as in my case, that becomes a 15-minute response time, best case scenario. That gap matters. There's no longer just a planning issue. This is a public safety issue. Throughout 2025, at least 5 different residents raised concerns during public comment at no fewer than 5 meetings, 5 different meetings. I reviewed those meetings myself. These were independent concerns raised by different individuals, none of whom were me, actually, one of whom is an active board member. Residents have raised concerns repeatedly, yet calls and correspondence from Cambridge Fire and EMS remain unanswered. At the March 17th, 2026 meeting, even Chief Peterson of Fort Atkinson, acknowledges a growing concern as to how we're going to answer all these calls. That raises an important question. Shouldn't we be expanding options and prioritizing closer, more responsive coverage? I understand that there are ongoing county-level discussions about EMS service, and that is important, but what may be effective at the county level may not be what's best for the town of Oakland. We are the far western edge of the county and function more as a Madison area community. For many residents, Madison-based care is the natural and preferred destination. We have already seen situations where transport decisions did not align with patient needs, creating confusion and hardship for families. These are real impacts, not theoretical concerns. At the same time, many, if not most, of the issues that led Oakland to leave the Cambridge Fire and EMS District have now been addressed. The Commission has adopted changes requiring unanimous budget approval, ensuring no municipality is forced into unsustainable costs. They've created flexibility within the agreement to allow for changes in EMS service delivery and maybe drafting a fire-only IGA. They're evaluating options collaboratively, whether that means contracting services, restructuring EMS, or hybrid models. There's now a clear effort to work cooperatively rather than adversarially. Financial reporting has been restored, budgets are drafted, expenses are being managed, leadership has stabilized, including the addition of an experienced EMS chief working constructively with staff and the volunteer fire department. In short, Cambridge Fire EMS has made meaningful, good faith efforts to correct past issues and build a more sustainable and collaborative system. Why then won't Oakland engage in meaningful discussions with them right here in our own backyard? At the same time, where am I?
It's passed.
Fire and EMS services make up close to, if not more than 50% of the town's budget. With that level of financial impact, this is not something that should be reviewed occasionally or reactively. It demands consistent oversight. The town should be regularly evaluating service performance costs and options, and there should be appointed representatives actively attending Cambridge Fire and EMS commission meetings to stay informed and to fulfill their fiduciary responsibility to this community. I would urge the board to send someone to the joint municipality meeting at the Christiana Town Hall on April 29th. The way these boards are working together is really refreshing and a positive step. Meanwhile, Oakland faces a different problem, one that's increasingly difficult to ignore. Many residents do not know who their current EMS and fire provider is. They do not realize they're no longer covered by Cambridge. The town of that's a serious public safety and communication failure that cannot be allowed to continue. The town of Oakland should have and should now send notification to residents regarding their current provider, who to contact for a controlled burn or obtaining burn permits, reporting down power lines and other fire hazards should be clear to all residents. And when someone calls 911, they should not have to wonder who is coming, where they're coming from, and how long it will take. That uncertainty reflects a breakdown in communication and accountability, and I think it's why the town board is under the impression that there's a lack of complaints. The situation is becoming a ticking time bomb. I've personally heard several complaints about long response times for incidents at local businesses, including Mink Farm, the Country Club, Cash and Olives, as well as from private residents throughout the town. Combine that with slower response times, and you have a dangerous situation. Minutes matter, delays impact outcomes. The board cannot ignore both the performance concerns and lack of transparency surrounding current service. I was also going to make a motion, given the concerns raised by residents and the ongoing issues with response times and public awareness. I move that the town direct the town board to formally engage Cambridge Fire and EMS and to schedule a public hearing to evaluate service options. Thank you.
Okay. All in favor, say aye. Okay.
Can you amend that to add a Q&A with it?
To what?
Add a Q&A for the town members?
Yes, at a public hearing.
Yeah, okay.
Can I amend it?
Yeah.
Okay. To include for public and answer, or question and answer from the public. I think it's important. I think transparency matters.
All right.
I think we've headed down a really weird path with EMS.
Okay, thank
and
you.
there are reasons to talk to Cambridge.
I'm just going to respond with the county. Chief Peterson and I sit on that county EMS work group. It is not going to, the county is not telling any of the fire services how to do their business. They are looking into ways to help with the financial sustainability of the local fire departments and how they can assist financially in this situation because the costs are increasing throughout the county and throughout the state. So nobody is telling the local services how to do their job, who they should use, or anything to that nature. Number one. Number two, again, we have never been contacted by the commission for any additional meetings. I have never seen any official invitations.
In the summer, where Joy Graffin, as a resident, expressed interest in
Okay.
responding to some sort of written communication from Cambridge Fire and
Okay,
EMS.
all right, that's, we have not received anything from the commission. We received a letter from the village, and it was purely informational. It did not ask for, to meet or to do anything of that nature. Okay, so we're gonna move on to Joy Graffin.
Did we vote on that amendment?
Yes.
Well, not on the amendment. Thank you.
We didn't vote, okay.
I didn't think.
Okay. All those in favor of the amended motion with the questions and answers, say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries.
Joy.
Can I move mine, since I have more than fire and EMS, can we do whoever does fire and EMS questions, and I can go last?
Okay, Jana. In the interest of time, please keep it.
I'm going to say what she said. There was no, I shouldn't take 3 minutes, but again, it doesn't say it was limited to 3. Anyway, I'm here about your quote in the paper, Laura, which says that you have not, oh, my name is Jana Evans, W9540 Highway 18. I'm regarding your quote in the paper that said you haven't heard of any residents having any issue with the change in coverage. And based on the positive feedback the town has received and the lack of complaints, you're confident in the service. And we appreciate the services of the other communities. That is not what is in question. Again, what is in question is the time responses. I'm here on behalf of the gentleman from Blue Jay Way that can't be here tonight because he died. He was a P&B on Blue Jay Way, which is past our house on 12 and 18, right by the high school. 2 weeks ago, my husband and I, who happens to be the fire chief, were sitting in our house when that call came, when the rescue squad went by from Lake Mills. Went by the wrong road, went up to the next road. Pretty soon, here came their fire truck. It was at least 12 minutes, at least. My husband has an AED in his truck that he could have drove the block and gave that gentleman a fighting chance. Now, do we know if it would have mattered? No, but who are we to make that judgment call? That is a human life. That is somebody's spouse, perhaps. That is somebody's coworker, somebody's friend, somebody's family member. We have got to get the political bullcrap out of the way and deal with the people and the property that we should all be looking to protect. And we are doing a terrible job in the town of Oakland doing that. At bare minimum, there should have been a call to Cambridge for an assist for a P&B. Mink farm, structure fire, why was Cambridge not called as an assist? They were 3 blocks away. Thank God the mink farm had a fire protection system, sprinkler system. They could have lost that whole building. That's part of our community. I would think that the board members in the town of Oakland would be very concerned that they are playing with things they shouldn't be playing with. Human lives, property protection. It might be your opinion that everything's wonderful, but there are several residents that do not think things are wonderful right away. I too, 2 years ago, the fire commission was a hot mess. For the last 3 years it's been a hot mess. I commend the new fire commission members, the board members. They have done a stellar job to get finances under control. Maybe 3 years ago, the cost to the town of Oakland, might have been $765,000. I would be willing to bet it's not that number anymore if you would just take the time and sit and try and work it out. Jimmy DiGidio, you told us when this all started that there was going to be a community activists committee to come together and try to figure out to work with the fire commission. None of those things ever happened. It went from, oh, let's work together and try to find various ways to all these contracts were signed. And now there's been absolutely nothing, no movement from the town of Oakland board. I am very, very disappointed. And if you're waiting for an invitation, I'm sure that invitation from the fire commission is going to be on your door tomorrow.
Okay,
That would be the first one.
that would be yes.
That's fine, but I
Okay.
think we have to go into it with open minds and not look at the past. We need to look at the future.
Well, and I'm not looking at the past, but I'm simply saying.
I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to our
Excuse me, ma'am?
electors, and I'm talking to Laura.
Please show respect to our clerk.
Well, then our clerk needs to show respect to you.
So thank you for your comments.
I'm not done. I think that the issues are being skirted. I think we need to sit together collectively as electors, as board members, as fire commission, as a 5 municipality, and find solution to protect our people of this community in a timely fashion.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, I'm
Please be aware that I have the call times for the Blue Jay Way. There was an EMT basic who was there in just over 5 minutes. So that was,
One person's going to save a life, it takes more than one.
there was then, I have the numbers there, the Lake Mills Fire Department was there in less time, and then Ryan Brothers did arrive, but they did have multiple. they were there in just about 5 minutes.
The Lake Mills Fire Department was there in 5 minutes?
We had a volunteer fireman who was an EMT basic who was there in about 5 minutes.
What time did Lake Mills get there? Mind you, there was a volunteer fire
Okay.
department that lives right across the street that could have been there in 2 minutes.
Okay. Your public comment is done. We need to be respectful of everybody present. They had somebody there in 5 minutes, 58 seconds. They had 4 people there in 8 minutes and 27 seconds, and then Lake Mills was there in 10 minutes and 14 seconds. Okay.
Excuse me, what was your source of data?
The county.
And was that from the time the call came in?
Yes. That's the entire time.
You watched the reads.
Okay, please just hold off all comments from the audience at this time. The next speaker is Brad Koenig.
My name is Brad Koenig. I live at N4316 Poplar Avenue in Cambridge. I've been a resident here for 25 years. 10 years ago, I joined the Cambridge Fire Department. I grew up on a farm, and I was always instilled, you help your neighbors. And that's the reason I joined the fire department. It's not for the money. I joined to help my neighbors, including my elderly parents who live a block, or in-laws who live a block away. My mother-in-law has dementia, my father-in-law has Parkinson's, and right now, if something happens to them, I would not be notified unless they call me directly. My neighbors, who are all elderly, have told me numerous times if they call 911, they would expect me to show up and help them out before anybody else arrives on scene. Well, if something happens to them right now, I would not be notified, even though I could be potentially right across the street because I work from home and something could be happening to my neighbors. Again, I signed up to help my neighbors. Jimmy knows I'm always around the community helping people out with my tractor, helping people out. I do more work for my community than neighbors than my own yard sometimes. And at this point, that's why I continue to serve on the volunteer fire department to help my neighbors. So I want to continue to do that in the town of Oakland where I live and reside.
Thank you.
That's it.
Sheila Palinkas.
Thank you for your time. I actually have 2 areas of comment, but I will reserve the second one for after the fire and EMS situation is complete in terms of people speaking, so we don't confuse issues. I was Oakland Town Board member for 2 years. Most of you know that. And during the time that we made the very difficult decision to withdraw from the Cambridge Fire and EMS intergovernmental agreement, it was a very tough decision to make. But most of you know that it was out of control and that we had blown through more than $500,000 in reserve funds that were earmarked for building and equipment things. We had multiple personnel issues, and it was a totally unworkable situation, and that is, in short, what drove us to make what was intended to be a temporary decision. When we made that decision and we announced it at the town board meeting, which by the way is on YouTube, you can hear it for yourselves, as a board, we did comment that the intention was for it to be temporary. And to Jana's point about forming a task group to work on this issue. Jim DeGidio did sit there that evening and say, yes, we want to do that. I've said that we wanted to do that. I've asked for it to be done, and it had never been done. It had been completely ignored. So in terms of where we are at now, I feel like our decisions to extend contracts with the alternate providers, who, by the way, are very good, and nothing is meant to offend any of those people, and we appreciate them stepping up. But we do have, as pointed out, some serious concerns, especially about things like response times. Most of you have probably had these forms passed around. This report here is Dane County 911 data from a data dump for the period of 1/1/24 through 9/3/24, and in the town of Oakland alone, when you look at call priority level, 203 of the calls that that originated here were of Charlie level or higher. That means life-threatening situation. So of the 483 calls, approximately 203 were Charlie level or higher, life-threatening calls. That's significant. I have asked that we collect data on a routine basis from Jefferson County. I've attempted to collect data from Jefferson County when I was on the town board, and that lacks a lot. They are not capable at this point, unless something has changed, of providing data to the level that we can get. This page that also was passed around, and I'm happy to save it and share it to the town board, highlights the example of minimum data that should be collected from all calls by Jefferson County and reported to the town board at minimum on a quarterly basis. These data points allow us to make good informed decisions along with budget and other issues, but these are critical. These tell us not just how quick they got out the door, but when they arrived and where that help came from. So I'm not going to belabor this right now, but these are examples of what we as a town board should be providing, or I'm not on the board anymore, but our town board should be providing at least quarterly through our website. Just to move along, I'm happy to answer other questions down the road, but I'd like to read this resolution. Oh, one more thing. In the 2026 town budget looks like it's budgeting $591,000 and change for fire and EMS services.
That also includes the police.
Okay, well, I
There's
have to
two
go back.
line items on there,
Okay.
and it is roughly $435,000.
Okay, I'll go back and confirm that and look at it a little closer. But it's in that range. When we were a member, and according to our budget, we were somewhere in the realm of $562,000 budgeted for fire and EMS services as part of the district. So that is not a significant enough number in my mind that we should be just ignoring the situation and saying we're saving thousands of dollars. We don't even have enough actual data collected in a format that is budget and we're not comparing it to what we were paying. There's more ways that we could be looking at this, and I think that rather than just anecdotal information, we should get it on paper. So the resolution that I'd like to make with respect to this is resolution requiring 911 call data collection, board attendance at the April 29th Fire and EMS Commission meeting, and the formation of Emergency Services Evaluation Committee. Whereas the Town of Oakland requires accurate and timely 911 call data to evaluate emergency response performance and ensure accountability, and whereas the town currently does not receive standardized reporting on 911 calls originating within the town of Oakland. And whereas the Cambridge Fire and EMS Commission will meet on April 29th, 2026 to discuss matters directly affecting the town's emergency services and budget. And whereas the electors believe that improved collaboration, data analysis, and active participation can help the town achieve equal or better emergency services levels at a reasonable or comparable cost to the 2026 budget. Now therefore be it resolved by the electors of the town of Oakland at the 2026 annual town meeting. 1. 911 call data collection and quarterly reporting. The town board shall immediately request and obtain standardized 911 call data for all calls originating within the town of Oakland using the data points presented at this meeting. Quarterly reports shall be presented at town board meetings and posted on the town website. Required board attendance on April 29th, 2026. A majority quorum of the town board shall attend the April 29th, 2026 Cambridge Fire and EMS Commission meeting at the town of Christiana Hall to represent the town's interest and remain informed on emergency services matter. Number 3, formation of an emergency services evaluation committee. The town board shall establish a committee consisting of 2 town board members, 2 residents at large, at least 1 fire or EMS service member who resides within the district over and above the residents. Number 4, purpose of the committee is to review emergency services data, compare 2026 budgeted amounts to actual expenditures, evaluate service levels and response performance, and maintain communication with the Cambridge Fire and EMS Commission. Number 5, reporting. The committee shall provide periodic updates and may recommend improvements to service quality, fiscal responsibility, and intergovernmental cooperation. Be it further resolved that the electors expect prompt and transparent action by the town board in carrying out this resolution. Thank you.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Again, these are all advisory.
Okay, I will return later.
I would like to see if either our Ryan Brothers EMS director or our Fort Atkinson fire chief would like to make any comments or clarifications to address anything that you feel is like inaccurate or clarify any information. No? Okay.
Certainly could.
It's
There's so many different things to address, I think.
okay. All right. We'll have something at a board meeting for continued updates that we have on a monthly basis. Okay. We'll go back to Joy.
I just have to look at the budget quick, where the right.
You have to add the 2 lines together. The 2% doesn't go into that. It has nothing to do with, so it's the green line. No, you have to take the 2 contracted amounts. Those are the ones I have highlighted there. The 2% is something different that's more of a pass-through thing. It comes from us and goes to fire departments based on a state calculation.
Joy Graffin, N4564 Park Road, Cambridge. First of all, I'm not a very good speaker, so put up with me a little bit. I want to say thank you to all that came out tonight to make your voices heard. There have been some board meetings when I was hoping that we would have more people here, but I'm glad you're all here tonight. The only thing, I agree with everybody with the fire and EMS. As one person who had a heart attack in the past, before we left the Cambridge Commission, I was happy to have prompt service. And I was happy to be taken to St. Mary's. Okay, so the only thing I would have to add for the fire and EMS is it possible that we may, I know we have a contract with Fort that's pretty hard to get out of. But the Lake Mills fire contract isn't. It's, I believe, 180-day notice. And I had talked to Chief Russ to ask if he would, had ever considered a district, Lake Mills and Cambridge joining as a fire district. I don't know, I haven't talked to anybody in Cambridge about that. But he also made mention that when we first went with Lake Mills, that he always thought that we would probably go back. And I remember talking to the chief with Jefferson, and he always told me the same thing. So it's not that we cannot go back to the commission. I know there's some hefty penalties on the Fort Atkinson side, and I grew up on Evenson Road. And for in that area, to go to Cambridge or to go to Fort is not that bad. What the big deal is around the lake. And I know we have excellent service with Lake Mills. I can't complain about them, but it is the time issue. And if we could possibly just take that chunk back to the commission in Cambridge, that would solve some of our problems. So I agree with everything that everybody else talked about. Another topic that I'd like to...
I would like to comment before you go on to another comment.
Okay.
About the fire and EMS. When what you talked to Chief Russ about.
Mm-hmm.
He had approached me about forming and taking over Lake Mills Fire and Ryan Brothers going to the Cambridge station. We would still continue to have our contract as is with Oakland, but then they could service us either out of the Lake Mills facility or the Cambridge, depending which was closer. Not all of the area they service is closer to Cambridge. He asked me to facilitate a meeting with Chris Brunig and Kristen Blackwood. And we did meet, and he did propose this to them. They did not follow up. So that was something that was proposed to them.
Okay. I
So,
just talked to him yesterday.
I understand that.
And he didn't mention anything about that to me.
Okay, but I am mentioning it to you.
Okay.
And it was never mentioned further from the village of Cambridge. So that was a possible solution that I helped facilitate.
When did that happen?
A few months ago.
And you never told the board about that?
There was no reason. It would not change our contract, and they never responded. So it was a dead deal.
So you don't think that you need to inform the board of anything that you're doing?
No, that's not the case. But the case was this had nothing to do with me. This had to do with Lake Mills and their potential relationship with other communities. But that did not go through. That did not have anything to do with the town of Oakland and their contract.
Okay.
So I am telling you that there have been other possibilities out there that have not been investigated by the Cambridge Commission. As they talk about what their options may be for fire and EMS in the future, because they have talked about potentially having other EMS there. So, so that was a possibility that they did not look into. So, like I said, that's not something that impacted
Well,
us at
this
the
would be
time.
a district, and one thing that he threw out was it wouldn't be a Cambridge Fire Department or a Lake
Correct.
Mills Fire Department. It would be Twin Lakes Fire Department or
Correct,
whatever.
correct.
Anyway, okay, let me get to the next thing. I don't know if any of you know that I've been working and struggling with keeping the Cambridge-Oakland Cable Commission alive. I've spoken, everyone I've spoken with is happy with the service and with the recordings we get. I know the clerk uses the recordings, as she spoke about tonight, to do her minutes, and I believe the Cambridge clerk does the same. The recordings are on YouTube and cable channel 987, and this means that all of our citizens have access to all of our meetings, and even if they're away at college or living out of state for part of the year. And now that the election is over and things are settling down with the Cambridge Board and the Oakland Board, I plan to get the Cable Commission back together again to develop a budget, as we need to do, and discuss how we can get current bylaws in place to propose to our boards. And I'm hoping that the Cambridge and the Oakland boards can work together on this. Tonight, I'm especially looking for feedback from our residents as to their wishes to keep the commission going. We have always had 2 board members and 1 at-large resident representing Oakland. This year, we've had 3 board members. I would like to propose to our town board that we go back to having 2 board members and 1 at-large member. I know that's what the Cambridge is planning on doing for the commission. Also, this is not a budgeted cost for the town. It has always been funded completely by franchise fees sent to each the Town of Oakland and Village of Cambridge quarterly from charter. And those fees have been passed on to the Cable Commission. It is now suggested that Oakland use the franchise fees elsewhere in other budget items, which would mean we would not have the recordings. It's been suggested that we do an iPhone recording, but who's going to be responsible for that? And who is going to get it on YouTube, and is it going to be any good? I suggest that if we are concerned with using approximately 6,000 to 7,000 quarterly payments elsewhere, we should pass a short-term rental ordinance, which may generate approximately $27,000 in revenues for the town of Oakland, plus protect our residents at all. Now, this is a separate, I'd like to keep the Cambridge-Oakland Cable Commission going, so we have the wonderful recordings that we have. And if you're worried about the or using the money elsewhere, instead of taking that money from the Cable Commission, why is there such a problem with getting our short-term rental ordinance passed? This would protect our residents. Developing a short-term rental ordinance has been another struggle of mine for over a year now. I've requested the board set up a committee consisting of possibly 1 or 2 board members plus 1 or 2 residents and our clerk and deputy clerk to get the ordinance in place. This would make the rental properties obtain proper licensing, fire inspections, occupancy regulations, parking regulations, etc. We've had lots of complaints about different short-term rentals in the area. It would protect our residents by regulations on occupancy, protect against noise and parking problems, as well as the use of the lake in some circumstances. I'm asking residents to please reach out to me or any of the town board members regarding the survival of the Cable Commission, plus your opinion on enacting a short-term rental ordinance, as well as the fire and EMS. Thank you.
Okay. I want to be clear about the franchise fees. Those are fees that cable subscribers pay. It comes to the town afterwards. The fee per state statute, can be put into our general fund, which we mentioned. It's important that we understand state statutes and what it means. The franchise fees are set up for the towns all over as like a user fee for using our right-of-ways, having it being difficult for us to work in our right-of-ways with all the cables in there. This was set up a long time ago. Nobody has ever suggested that we do not record our meetings. That is not the case. We needed to understand what our regulations and our requirements per state statute are. So that's where that came from. We have asked for the Cable Commission to provide a budget. It appears that they have not had a budget since before 2010. They do not have one for 2026 yet, and we are in the second quarter. We have voted unanimously to request information to understand what types of ordinances we already have in place, where all this came from the information that was presented to the board a couple of months ago. It appears that based on the amount of money being spent, that it is not sustainable. The costs are going higher, and the fees that we're getting as there are fewer people subscribing to Spectrum are going down. So what we have asked for is to understand all of the financials with it, and then we can go from there. But that's what the board was asking for at a couple of meetings ago. And it will be on the agenda as soon as the Cable Commission has all of the information that the board requested during our last
Right,
minute.
and I just mentioned that I was going to get the
Yes,
Cable Commission
yes.
together.
Yes,
to
and
do
when,
that.
and I'm just saying
But
when.
we don't have, we need to, I would like to get the board to appoint the 2 board members plus an at-large member like we used to.
We already have you and David there. You do not need to be reappointed. You have a term limit of 2 years,
Right.
so we can get a third person.
An
on there.
at-large person, I would request that.
Okay, we will have to put a notice out on our website and request people that would like to be part of that commission,
Okay.
just as we've done for the planning committee. So we can do that in this week.
That's fine.
That's
And
fine.
this is something that we need to work with Cambridge and be together with Cambridge. And I think Cambridge feels like Oakland is not being a partner anymore with anything. So I would like to change that.
Well, we're just asking for information from the Cable Commission. This has nothing to do with the village of Cambridge.
Okay, that was just a side
Okay.
note.
Okay, but
Thank
this
you.
has nothing to do with them. Thank you.
Could you put that in a motion? To make a member at large to be on that committee and
The-
to continue with the cable?
That's something that we're just, I mean, you can make a motion for that, but we will do that. We have to have 3 people on that committee, so that's not,
But in addition to that, Laura, my question is, can she also make a motion that we sustain the Cambridge-Oakland Cable Commission moving forward? Can she make a motion to do that?
She can make the motion, but again, it's in an advisory capacity.
Correct, I understand that, but she could still make that motion. and
Yes,
we
she
could
could.
vote as elected.
She could. Thank you, Jana. I will make a motion that the Cambridge-Oakland Cable Commission, our participation in that continue.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Nay. Is it for cable television? No.
It's for a
Or
recording.
So you can watch the meetings.
But where do you
But
watch
that's-
that?
It's on the local cable channel.
On-
If you don't get
Who watches
cable,
TV
YouTube.
anymore?
It's on YouTube.
It's on
You have
YouTube
the
as
internet.
well.
Is it?
All of our
$50,000
meetings are on
every
YouTube.
meeting.
Yeah, I'd say nay to that. I don't think cable television's a medium people use anymore.
okay, thank
It's
you.
not it's on YouTube as well.
Okay. Yes, it's on YouTube. If you would like more information on how to find the YouTube channel, please reach out to our clerk, and they can find it for you, yes, but all of the meetings are on YouTube.
And I would also like to make a motion that the representatives from the town of Oakland, for the Oakland Cambridge Cable Commission consist of 2 board members and an at-large member.
Okay. All right.
Is there a second?
Okay, please keep your comments.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
I'm sorry.
The motion was that the Cable Commission would retain, I believe, the 3 town board members and
No,
additionally
just two town
two
board.
town board members, okay, and 1 citizen at large.
All right, thank you. All right. All right,
This is my last, and it's related to this, so it'll be brief.
okay.
Thank you for the opportunity to take the time to talk about this. I'll be brief, it's getting late, so the resolution should take care of it. I would like to introduce a resolution regarding short-term vacation rentals in our town. Wisconsin law requires that any home rented to tourists, including Airbnb and VRBO properties, must be licensed as a tourist rooming house. That means annual inspections for health and safety, proper sanitation, fire protection, and compliance with state standards. Owners who earn more than $2,000 a year are required to register with the Department of Revenue and ensure that tax is properly reported. Right now, we have more than 30 short-term rentals operating in Oakland, but only 2 or 3 are registered with the state as of the time of the data collection. That means that most of these properties are not inspected, not monitored, and do not provide a local contact for law enforcement or the town when there are issues with noise, parking, and safety. Without a local ordinance, the town has no way to enforce state requirements or to respond to complaints. We are also seeing corporations buying up lake properties, sometimes offering $100,000 or $200,000 over asking price and turning them into full-time rental businesses. This affects zoning, property values, and the character of our community. For these reasons, I move that the electors direct the town board to draft a short-term rental ordinance aligned with state law and to hold a public hearing so residents may provide input. And as Joy had mentioned, you know, issues of maximum occupancy are also an issue. This came up. I arrived at the conclusion to do this because over the past few years, when I was on the town board, several residents had contacted me and others regarding their frustration with this, and I'd asked for a hearing about this, and it was always denied. So the purpose is to get this issue on an agenda and in a public hearing so that we can deal with it effectively. So I made a motion. I'm asking for a second. Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay,
All right, thank you.
all right. All right. We have no other people signed up for public comment, so I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll give the motion.
Okay, do we have a second? Okay, all in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. This closes our annual meeting. We will go immediately into our regular monthly meeting. So the supervisors will come up. They will now be in their supervisory role.
I'm gonna break the recording here just because this went.
Okay, that's fine. I will call the meeting to order. I think we've already said the pledge, so I think we're good. So we'll go on to number 2, verification of notice.
The meeting was duly noticed.
Okay. Does anybody else have public comment? Okay. Hi again, Lynn.
Lynn Klipstein, N4505 Warren Avenue. I just want to go on record of saying, I know that there were advisory motions, but I hope they're taken seriously and they're mostly implemented with the understanding that it's the residents voted for it, and we had quite a few members here too, so that was good to see. The next thing is I also know that there was a comment prior made about meeting with the Chief Russ about the Village of Cambridge firehouse. And from my understanding in that meeting, it was him taking over, or that community taking over the village fire department, and that was something that the village was not for. So I think there's more context and more information around that particular meeting that occurred. So I just wanted to put that on record, that it wasn't just, there wasn't a conversation about what to do. It was, we would come in, take over, rename the fire equipment and all that other stuff. So just wanted to put that on record.
Thank you, Lynn.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's move, any other?
Thank you guys, especially, I know it's hard. You're here for hours and hours, I get it. Just one last, quick comment regarding not hearing complaints about the service. And again, if anyone not here, but this is not about complaining about the people who are willing to step up to the plate for us and do that. They were there when we needed them, and we're very grateful for that. But the reality is, as I mentioned earlier, there are almost 50% of our calls are Charlie level or higher, which are life-threatening. There have been many comments made to me and to many others publicly about calls that occur in Oakland, EMS calls in particular, that took 20 to 25 minutes to actually arrive at the location. Lake Ripley Family Restaurant, the Country Club, I know of 2 constituents who personally contacted me who said, this is unacceptable. We're 83 years old. My wife almost died, and I'm at the point now where I'm going to put her in a car and drive to the next district, meaning Deerfield, and then call to have an ambulance meet us there. They're not the only people that have made that comment. These are very real concerns. And it's not easy for people to feel like they can come and talk to everybody about this. Most of the people don't even have a clue what's really going on until they're in the midst of an emergency. So I feel like we can't just ambiguously say, because people haven't come here and screamed at us, that we haven't had any reasons to be concerned. Okay. The other thing that was alarming to me that I heard, and it reminded me again tonight, was about the fire at Mink Farm. When we entered into this process and went with alternative services to make a point, and we needed to do that, we did the right thing. One of the assurances was that if there's smoke and flames visible, that the Cambridge Fire Department would be on automatic page and automatically dispatched to a fire. Now, I haven't looked at the data from that night. I have a terrible time, as I said before, getting data from Jefferson County. Hopefully now you guys can fix that. And I haven't confirmed the data, but if that's true, and Cambridge was not automatically dispatched, that's a problem. That's a big problem. And just one last thought for everyone to take with them. There's a very real possibility that the Fire and EMS Commission, with the remaining members, will have to shut it down, basically, and dissolve. That means no fire, no EMS services in the village that can respond to automatic response to smoke and flames.
Okay, thank you.
That's big.
I just urge everybody to understand, let's not say, we think we heard there was a rumor about should we see flames. I think it's very important that we find out the information before we make any judgments or get alarmed. There have been a number of the concerns about 20, 25 minutes to the to the country club. And there were dates on that, and I looked into that myself, and those dates and times that were mentioned were 12 minutes. So it's very important that we see that these are not always what they appear to be.
Laura,
Yes.
I understand how you might see that, but unless you're trained at looking at these reports, and I'd be happy to sit down with anyone who's interested and look at these types of reports, there are 3-4 different time points that are typically noted in NICR's reports and other reports that are used to collect data that go into these things. If we were actually, there's
Yes, I did speak, I did get the data, and I spoke to the fire chiefs
Well,
directly
it would
about
be
the data
I'm sorry, but unless you can put it in front of us in real data, I cannot take you at your word, because I have heard you make miscalculations and misjudgments.
Okay, that's all. Thank you very much for your comment. Thank you very much for your comment. We're going to move on. We're going to move on to State Representative Joan Fitzgerald, Congressional Update. Thank you, Representative Fitzgerald, for coming
Finally,
today.
huh?
We appreciate it very much.
When I talked to you guys about wanting to come and speak, Laura said, well, you know, that's our annual meeting, so I don't know when you're actually going to get to speak. And I said, it's okay. I'll come and hear what everyone has to say. So actually, I'm kind of glad I was here tonight. It was great to see so many people in the room. Disappointing that they all left when the actual meeting started. I would, I wish people would hang around, because it's just so hard. You guys do such great work in town boards, and good public input is so important, I think. So anyways, I'll get through just a little update from Madison. If you guys remember, I came last year, kind of gave you an update on the budget. Promised I would come back. We are done. We met 10 times in January and February, and finished in the middle of February. The majority party sets the calendar, so that's when they decided we would be done. We did get some really good things done, and you may have heard some of this stuff in the news. 2 things: postpartum Medicaid expansion and Gale's Law, which increases insurance coverage for breast cancer screening, were 2 bills that people around the state have been advocating for years. And it has taken forever to convince the leadership in the assembly to move forward on this. And we finally got those 2 bills passed this year. Those were huge accomplishments for the women of Wisconsin and the people who love the women of Wisconsin. So happy to see those go through. The PFAS bill that went through last budget session, $125 million was designated to help municipalities and individual homeowners with remediation and cleaning up PFAS. Unfortunately, no decision was made at that time how to actually spend the money, who to give it to, and how to do that. So it took 2 more years to figure that out, and thankfully we are there. Passed a bill, the DNR is now ready to start sending that money out to municipalities. There are communities in the state of Wisconsin that have been drinking bottled water for years. And so this is really, really good news for them. And because that money was invested, $125 million is now $132 million. So yes, we do invest the money, it makes money, and then we can spend more money on the good things that people want us to do. 2 other really good things have happened. The federal budget bill required states to take over more of the administration for Medicaid and SNAP. And so it took us a while. We had to figure out how to get our state to align with what the federal government wanted us to do. That took a little bit of compromise, but we did finally get there, so that's good news for not only our budget, but the people of the state of Wisconsin who rely on those benefits. There were a few task forces that Speaker Robin Voss put together, bipartisan. One of those was on internet crimes against children, and some great bills came out of that task force and were passed, signed into law this past month. So extra staff to deal with that, increased penalty, more awareness, some educational components to all of that. So really good bipartisan, wonderful legislation that we got through right at the end. So I'm really happy to report that. There's also a ton of other bills. If anyone is interested, there was a veterans package, some housing bills. The online gaming bill did get signed into law, allowing the tribes to expand into online gaming, a la DraftKings and that kind of stuff. Related to Jefferson County, and good news for the county as a whole, we passed SB 556, which will increase utility aid. Specifically, this was designed for the LNG storage facility up in Ixonia, but it also applies to battery storage. So this would be increased money to municipalities and to the county. So even if it doesn't come directly to the town of Oakland, good news if it comes to the county, that ultimately helps all of us save some money there. So that was also a really good bipartisan bill. So happy to see that. Still waiting on Knowles Nelson. Still waiting on any regulation about wake boats. I know when that was going through the through the legislature, talked a lot to people from the town of Oakland about that. So we're right back to where we started. Some bills were introduced, nothing happened with those. So I know you guys have a regulation that still stands. The state did nothing on that. I would assume that will come back again in the next session because I think people want us to do something about that. So we will obviously keep in contact about that. Sandhill crane hunt was another big one. Farmers wanted us to do something. Hunters wanted it. Nothing happened with that either. Some stuff gets introduced and then just sort of dies. We can't decide on it. Two things we're still working on. We do have a $2.5 billion budget surplus in addition to the $2 billion in the rainy day fund. We'd like to keep the $2 billion in the rainy day fund. I think for most of us, we're not sure what may continue to happen on a federal level. Will they make states take more responsibility for things? Pretty much want to leave that. The $2.5 billion surplus, I think there is some desire to do something with that. I think one part of that would be getting some money into schools, which would directly reduce property taxes for people. And we can go into a whole discussion of how that happens. But anytime the state puts more money into schools, schools have a limited amount of money they can collect. So if the state collects more, then the residents can pay less. So we would like to do something along those lines. As you're reading those news articles about that, I would just caution people, just like individual people, we have savings accounts, right? And we don't want to spend down that entire savings account in 1 year. We may need to keep some of that, right? And save some of that savings for future things. Again, prices are only going up, needs are going up, so that is still out there. I'm sure we'll hear something about budget surplus. And gerrymandering is the other thing. The governor called us all back, special session, to talk about a constitutional amendment to ban political gerrymandering. Again, the Republicans who control the agenda for the day and control what we do on the floor spent about maybe 30 seconds each day, each time we're in talking about that. So maybe cumulatively, we've spent a minute and a half talking about that constitutional amendment. They just keep, every 3 days we go back and they gavel in, say we're going to talk about it, and then they adjourn. I think the people of Wisconsin would really like us to talk about banning gerrymandering. And so I'm really hopeful that that topic will be a conversation we can have at some point. Not necessarily holding my breath, but let's hope so. So those are the two big things. I would say, so we're done with that session. But when we start the new session, there's always time to hear from people about what would you like in the new budget. And so I always tell town boards, city councils, whatever, if there are things you think you would like the state to do, pay more money for this, less money for that, this kind of thing, always feel free to let me know that, because I can pass that along as our concern. I've heard from a lot of people, obviously EMS is an issue, road funding has been a big deal in a lot of the townships in the area as well, and trying to get some more money for, especially the agricultural, very, country roads are really hard to maintain. So we'll certainly keep fighting for that in the future. But
Thank you very much. Right,
um,
thank you.
So, tried to keep it short. I know I was over 3 minutes,
Yeah.
but.
You don't need to be.
We have
We're-
51-mile road in
Yes.
Oakland Township, so
Yeah.
any help you can do there is greatly appreciated, as you probably heard. And on the wake boat issue, please keep fighting for our local control, because if we lose local controls in these small areas, we will be decimated.
Yeah, that was the one thing I think that was holding us all back from any of the bills that were out there. Like, none of the bills, they could guarantee that this would not take away
Impact.
local control. And it was like, nope, I'm not gonna vote for it if you can't supersede with your local ordinance. So,
Well,
good to know.
We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Leanna, our Lake District Manager, and I reached out to you and Senator Radcliffe, and thank you for being so responsive and hearing our concerns and passing on our emails. So we really do appreciate that very much. It's
my
important
pleasure.
for that all communities can regulate their lakes as they see fit, because they're so different. So we appreciate that, and anything you can do with
I think it will
the
come back
roads.
next session, so I am sure we are gonna continue to have this conversation, because there's a lot of money on one side of that argument, and you can imagine it's not coming from the towns, right? Wake boat manufacturers have a big vested interest in making sure these things can be used on Wisconsin lakes.
And the people that can afford them.
Yes, that's part of it too. And so we hear a lot from that side, but I think it's incredibly important. You guys are lucky. Laura's pretty pretty willing to share your concerns with my office and with Senator Ratcliffe as well, who's I think does a great job as well as far as listening to local comments. So happy to do it.
Yeah, and thank you for coming to our WTA meetings as well. We do have quite Senator Radcliffe and some other representatives come, so it's really nice that all of you come and listen to us. So it's greatly appreciated.
Yeah, hoping to get more, rural representation. It doesn't, always happen, so it's good.
Thank
Can I
you.
ask a question?
Of course.
Oh,
Of course.
Are there, I'm just curious, are there good metrics to define gerrymandering or the lack of gerrymandering? And I mean, years ago, I'd seen things where there were going to be tools like somebody had a program where it was the least amount of asymmetric areas. I mean, are there, what a task to do and have it be something that's apolitical. I mean, I'm not sure it's possible, but I'm wondering
Yeah,
what's
I'm
out
not sure
there.
it's possible. There are software programs that will
Right.
design maps, looking at if you want, districts that are more square, or, I mean, there are all kinds of
Right.
variables you can put in there.
Right.
I think that's somewhat the concern with the governor's constitutional amendment. It's just very vague. What is political gerrymandering?
Right.
Like,
and
how do you even define?
Well, you can define it, but how do you, I mean, I feel like you know it when you see it,
Yes.
but how do you take into account all of the little variables and where people live and the sizes of communities and lakes and
Yeah,
and
there
town
are
borders, it
there
gets
are
very- okay.
software programs that do it.
That
I think
can-
what would happen if this amendment were to go through and we said, okay, we're not gonna do this in the state of Wisconsin, there would have to be a whole bunch of statute written to make sure that that happened.
So this is
Some
a
sort of-
long way down the road.
Right, it would have to be, some sort of commission, and who's on the commission, and who designs it, and how much time do they have? The goal, of course, would be to have something in place by 2030, because that's the next time we have to redistrict.
Gotcha.
I don't know if that's possible, but that's the goal. It is not an easy task to do maps. It really isn't. It's quite a challenge. I think what we're hoping, I think the idea, of course, would be more competitive districts.
Sure.
You know, when you look at the whole state, there are 99 assembly districts. About 15 of them are actually competitive. That's terrible. On both sides, right? I mean, that's not good if you're a Democrat or if you're a Republican. If you're in a district that you know is going to vote for you 65 or 70%.
You're disenfranchised from, somebody's disenfranchised.
Somebody's not being represented in that, and that's the majority of Wisconsin right now. That is not this district, by the way. You know, this is a nice purple district, which is I think it's good. It's healthy. That leads to good discussions.
Right.
But more of the state should be that. So we'll see. More to be determined on that.
Well, thank you for what you do.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're welcome. I love it. I enjoy it. And I'm happy to be your representative in Madison.
We love you.
So whenever you guys want to contact my office, you know how to find me. So
Okay.
Great.
all right.
Any other questions?
Okay. All right.
Thank you so
you.
much
And-
for staying.
You bet. Sometimes I would stay for the whole meeting, but I think tonight.
That's okay.
Run while you can.
You accidentally bypassed the minutes.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
We're going to go back to number 4, approval of the minutes of March 17, 2026. My apologies for doing so.
I can make a motion to approve the minutes for March 17th.
I have a couple
Oh, what do you
Okay.
got?
corrections, well, just typos.
Okay.
Under police report, I think it's supposed to say each officer will receive a thumb drive, not each office.
Okay.
Yep, I can change that. And then also, under discussion and possible action on the Theodore Boutard, 2 residential lots at, is that supposed to be at, not AW? Yeah. You see what I mean?
No, I got to get to the part that you're at. Hang on just a second.
Allow 2 residential lots, AW. It says AW. I'm assuming that's supposed to say at.
She's our proofreader.
Oops. Read the whole sentence, Joy.
Okay, it's discussion and possible action on request by Theodore
Right.
Buteau to divide the.
Well, no, I don't need that part.
Oh, it's in
Second
that.
line.
It says
Yeah.
Oh,
lots.
it's in
It
there.
should be at.
Yes.
W9236.
It's
Oh,
a typo.
oh.
There.
The W instead of a T is the typo.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
that's all I have.
okay, all right.
So
All right.
approval of the minutes with correction of the 2 typos.
There you go.
Okay.
Motion by Jimmy. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor of the meeting minutes with the 2 typos corrected, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Okay. Motion approved. Okay, so we will move on to discussion and possible action on request by Michael Doman Trust for variance to allow for an addition to existing non-conforming structure in excess of 50% of existing foundation footprint at N4120 Milwaukee Lane, parcel number 022-0613-0834002. Please come up. Okay.
I live in the best part of the lake. It's the most gorgeous winter or summer. It's got the best fishing. So I'm happy to be there. I've been pounding nails on this building since 12 years, since Roxanne sold it to me. And I'm continuing to do it because like with all the small cottages you have on a lake, you have to work them, you have to keep them up. I've been remodeling my cottage when I had the money with my wife, and we save more money, we remodel more. We're towards the end of what we're going to do there, and what we're trying to do is fix the roof with our building as it is. We put a metal roof on, And we were told by the contractor that the roof underneath it wasn't substantial enough to hold, to stay forever. In other words, it was good for that period of time. The building is a 1960 and 1940 combination construction. So we've been petitioning you guys and the county of Jefferson to continue this work and to fix the roof line and enjoy the property once we're done.
So, so the issue is that he would like to raise the roof and add 320 square feet there, and just because of non-conforming lot, it requires a variance, but it's not changing the foundation footprint at all. It's not changing the impervious area. So the planning committee felt that there's no reason why we wouldn't want to approve this. You know, it's really great that he wants to keep the existing house. He could tear it down and start fresh. So that's really nice to see. I did talk to Leanna Spencer, that's our Lake District Manager, and since it is a lake property, and she too felt that this was a good addition, and so we voted unanimously to recommend this variance to the board.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I'll make a motion to approve the variance for Michael Doman Trust to allow for the existing addition.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. All in favor of the variance, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. We will get that to the county right away.
You guys are the best. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have a patio that you can, no?
Take care.
Mark.
Thank you.
Anybody want to increase the tax bills? Got my vote.
Okay, we'll move on to number 7, discussion and possible action on request from Union Cemetery Association.
Did
Would
we
you like
budget
to?
that?
We do this every year, right?
We do this every year.
Donation? Is it always $600?
That, I would have to look back and see. This is the amount that they're requesting. They should it exceed the constraints of your budget, please consider adding that amount to the next year's budget. But it's for the annual upkeep of the cemeteries that we own.
Right.
Do you not have it, Joy?
Yeah, I do,
Oh,
but
okay.
I didn't know if did we budget
That
an amount this year?
I don't know. I would have to look and see what number Susan had in there for it.
Union is the one
Well,
off of 12.
I have no problem with it.
This
What's
is
that? I'm sorry.
Where's the location of Union?
Do you know where that one is?
Jeff,
Is that the one on
Well,
12?
this is the Cemetery Association. We own, what, 2 cemeteries?
Yes.
2 or
I believe.
2 or
And they do the upkeep on the cemeteries for us. They do the mowing and looking after them. I've been told that when they no longer have any volunteers to do it, that some members of our staff will be doing it, but hopefully that won't happen for a long time.
Jeff might know.
But
more about
if
it.
you want exact dollar amount, I can certainly get that for you after the meeting. But I think this is probably
believe this is
similar to what they've done in the past.
I think this is the one on C and A, the corner. Jeff, do you know?
Google
There, you know that one
on the corner.
Highway A and C intersect, like on that corner there, isn't that the little cemetery? Anyway,
Okay.
I have no problem with the $600. I think I'll move to approve the $600 request from Union Cemetery Association.
I'll second.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the $600 request to the Union Cemetery Association, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, we'll move on to discussion and possible action on Gerald Dilgen, David Crane, Preston Theed, and Kelly Gonzo for their liquor license.
So all of these are new liquor licenses. There were a couple for the Lake Ripley, the country club, one for Busy Barn Adventures, and there'll be another, I think actually maybe two for Busy Barn Adventures. But I have reviewed them all. They didn't have criminal backgrounds. They have all taken their requisite safe serving classes, so I would feel comfortable offering them up liquor licenses.
It does, David Crane, it doesn't say where he's working.
It might be on the AB. David Crane, his, I'm pretty sure came in, I have the note on my desk, but his, I'm pretty sure came in with the Preston David Feedy, and both of them are gonna be at the country club. Because I have a note on my desk to call when the liquor licenses are approved, so they can come and pay for them and pick them up.
We actually had
Okay.
Did David fill his out, or he just left the part? Oh, he typed it in, I see what he did, okay. Yeah. Just forgot that bit. huh?
This is what I was looking at, it's not filled in.
Oh.
Is there ever a reason we don't approve them?
Sometimes.
Yeah. Individual?
Yes.
Yeah, it does
Or
happen.
maybe not naive, just the newbie.
Background check.
Yeah.
Yeah, the background
Yeah,
check.
usually a background check. They have to be of a certain age. They have to
Do their
provide the fact that they've done the responsible
Sure.
serving class. And if they haven't done that, then they would not be eligible to get a liquor license,
Right.
or an operator's license, if you will.
I'll make the motion to approve the liquor license for Gerald, David, Preston, and Kelly.
Okay, Jimmy's made a motion. Do we have a second?
Oh.
Sorry,
Oh, yeah,
operator
yeah,
license.
good point. Yeah, thank
Very
you.
good.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. All in favor of the operator license for the people listed, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay.
So what's the difference between an operator license and a liquor license?
Liquor will be for
the
the establishment
establishment.
to actually
Operator is the
sell.
person.
So this is for an individual person to go ahead and to bartend or to serve you
So
versus,
every person who works in a bar has
Yes.
to have one?
Yes.
And has to come before the board?
They usually don't come in front of the board. They
Well,
u-
I mean,
yeah.
has to.
Yeah.
these
Yes.
are
Your
new
name has to
ones,
come
I'm
fast,
just
yeah.
doing, because I'm of course getting accustomed to it too, but they all come up for renewal in the summer, so I'll send out letters to each one of the establishments that have got licenses from us in the past with forms for them to list all of the people that they have there working for them. At that point, it's usually renewals, but these are new.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, we accept those throughout the year. Okay. We'll go on to discussion, possible action on resolution 2026-05, resolution to the state regarding the need for local road funding. The WTA has recommended that all of the towns vote on this resolution and send it out to the governor, just hoping for more funding, is basically what it is, because it's a big issue for all the towns. Right.
We learned about that at the Board of Review.
They had a webinar for Board of Review and a few other subjects, and this was included in there. And so they sent this to the towns. And so it's just standard format, so everyone would have the same language, just to be consistent.
I'll move to approve resolution number 2026-05.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. All in favor of the town resolution supporting comprehensive and sustainable transportation funding solution, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. We will move on to discussion and possible action on 2026 road construction and 5-year road plan. Good evening, Jeff. Thank you for coming.
You guys been here a long time.
Yeah, huh?
Yes,
Been
we
very busy.
have. So in your packet, you should have a 5-year road plan, starting with this year. You also have the Whistler map, that's from the state. And you all received an email notification about this, but I'm very pleased to say that for those in the audience, that we had applied for an LRIP grant along with the town of Lake Mills and Astelin to repair the entire length of Hope Lake Road, and we were awarded that. And the town of Oakland was awarded 70% reimbursement.
That's awesome. Great
So
job,
it's
you
really
guys.
huge for us. So this is really great news. So that is also listed in here, well, along with the other road projects.
I have a question on that too. I mean, and I went to the solar farm presentation at the library, and I asked about, because that's off Hope Lake Road, any damage that they would cover the damage if there is any to Hope Lake Road. But now, are we not doing this until 2028?
That is the plan as of today. We will be talking to the town of Lake Mills and town of Astelin. From talking to the chair of Lake Mills, he also had wanted to go to wait until 28, but we will firm that up. But it would be beneficial for us just to wait. We don't want to. You may not see a lot of damage because it's a brand new road, but we don't want a lot of construction on there, and also it would be chaotic to have the road construction at the same time as the construction of the.
He thought that their project would be done in 2027.
Right.
So that's what I wanted to be, I mean, we have until 2028 to use this grant.
We have 5 years to use this.
5 years, okay.
So, so we have in here at this time proposed that we would take care of that in 2028. But let's go to this year, what we are proposing. Jeff, would you like to go over that and explain why?
Yes, but I'll start with Friedel on the bottom, because, and work my way up on for this year. As Friedel, we're getting that grant money, where we'll get reimbursed up to $32,000.
Yes.
So that one, as you remember, we applied last year, it was early fall for this one as our project for reimbursement. And that one is, the county contacted me and they wanted to make sure, for sure, that we were doing it for their bidding reasons for asphalt earlier this spring, and I confirmed that we were, because we had decided on it in fall, and I didn't think anything was going to change. So they are still planning on doing that. I was supposed to meet with them before the floods, and they were going to go over it and put us on a time frame of when it would be about. I'm hoping it's, before the big summer rush.
So that one moves to number 1?
Yes. We've been lacking on our seal coating lately. Reasoning is bigger projects, and we've been short on funds. Unfortunately, they get kind of put on the back burner. So I do have them 2 roads, Kunz and Kreitz, for seal coating this year.
Price for both?
Yep. Yeah, that's a pretty close estimate. I don't know what the oil price is going to do with them guys. They should have had it all locked in, but that doesn't mean they're not going to transfer the cost to us.
So the seal coat is something they lay down, and that'll help just extend the life of the roads. So then it'll help with our long-term budget.
Gives us our wear surface back and helps eliminate, it's hard to believe that seal coating will help eliminate potholes, but it does, because it keeps the water out of the cracks and out of the, to form.
How long will that last, the seal coat usually? Traffic obviously makes a difference.
We can add, You know, there's a lot of variables. At least 5 years, but between 5 and 8. And you're not, if you have a good foundation, you're not, I mean, you could seal coat all the time if you got a good road idea, you know, it's just wear surface and cracks. As long as the cracks don't get too bad, you can seal coat as many times as some people, that's all they do. They keep seal coat. Not saying that their roads are in good shape when they are seal coating, but they, you know, they don't have very big budgets and they can't afford to rebuild roads. So. Now we looked at Blue Jay Way.
I think that's really needed.
Yeah.
That road is a mess.
I have noticed over the years, a lot of school traffic used to take Skogan. Now they take Blue Jay Way. Honestly, in the wintertime, I'd take Blue Jay Way too. I wouldn't want to end up in her yard.
Yeah, thank you. Or the yard next to us. We've
Yes.
had people and children in our kitchen
Yeah.
when they've gone over that guardrail.
Yeah.
Oh, you live on Park?
I live on Park, yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So
So do
that's
I.
That's a reconstruction, similar to, not in depth as big as what we did with Parker Ripley, but that one's just grind up the road in 2 layers.
You think we can do that for 81,000?
I'm optimistic, very optimistic.
So Blue Jay Way, I'm sorry, you're talking about the part from Potter's Road south, not the,
Correct.
the other part has been done?
Yep, yep.
Gotcha, okay.
Yep, we'd like to finish that up. And then come the Potters. But Potters is an interesting situation. As you might have, I don't know if the maps show it.
Yeah,
but
we have the map here.
between, there is a section where the village is. Between Grace and Skogan. I mean, this is the price to do our section. Hopefully, without an IGA though, with them, and we're kind of, we can ask them if they want to pave their section. If they don't want to redo their section, there's nothing we can do.
Right, we just do ours.
Yep.
Right, so,
We'll have to direct all
so we,
the other way. I mean,
Right.
because you're going to have a spot where the road's good and where it's not.
so we'll send a letter to the village stating that now that the IGA is severed, that we would like to repave this road. It's in really bad shape, and it's right here where all our students and teachers and everyone who goes to events come. So we think it's important that we should do this road, and then we'll ask them if they would like to work on their section as well. We can facilitate the project as long as that they pay for their section, and I believe that we could probably get the county to just invoice them,
Yeah, I believe we could.
and so then they would just take care of their section as well, and then we could, you know.
Is that who does the paving for us, is the county?
Yeah, we've been getting a pretty good deal with them.
Okay.
Right. So you can see in yellow where it is. And then we also have another hiccup with this as well. We have a neighbor on the corner of Grace and Potter, right across the street from the church. He does,
Yep.
yes. He does get some flooding. I did talk to him today, he called me. He believes that that there is runoff through the culvert at the church underneath the road to his property. He has not had any flooding with all these rains, he has told me. It seems like a lot of in the past, there has been water and flooding around the edge of his property and around, not in his home. But it looks like that most of that water is coming from the neighbors directly onto him, not through the,
Oh, the new construction behind him?
and some of the other properties as well that are causing some of the runoff onto his property. But he would like us to work on the drainage, but there's problems with elevation and how we construct another culvert to bypass his property. Do you want to?
I looked at the property this afternoon.
Okay.
After lunch. There's a possibility that we can, either way it's gonna cost money, but trying to do it the most economical way is keep it on his side, pick it up where it crosses from the church, take it towards Potter's, and then run it down along Potter's to the cross culvert. But our elevations, the way they are, we'll have to bury pipe and have a catch basin in the corner so we can direct the water. Because water ain't gonna do a 90 without help.
We've been looking at that for a long time.
Yep, I
Remember?
know we have. I know we have.
Before the house got built.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So is it, there's a grant for, they call small bridges?
Yeah,
Would
that one wouldn't cover.
It wouldn't?
No.
Oh, okay.
That has to be about 6 feet diameter?
Diameter, yeah. 6 to 20s, and then after 20 feet diameter, then they become a bridge, a full-size bridge.
So we'd have to look into if we would want to do that at this time, and how much would that cost? Also, how much it would really alleviate some of the water on his property.
Yeah. Do we have a fix? Is there a fix? It's just a matter of getting it quoted and finding out how much money we can spend?
Yeah, I believe that would fix it, because it would catch it, and it would take it, and then it would transfer. It's just a matter of, because the elevations aren't there, we gotta go quite deep. And to do that, then we'll have to have a catch basin, so we have something to clean out, because the pipe will be underground. So it'll be similar to what we have, the catch basins along on Ripley and.
Yeah, on Park.
Is that, Park has catch basins too?
Yeah.
Is that what those
Yes.
are called? Okay. So would it go along the school side of Potter or on the Tim Lorang side of Potter?
Lorraine side.
Okay,
So we wouldn't disturb any of the roads, just the
Okay.
edges,
gotcha.
just the ditchways.
Maybe just get a quote on it, find out how much it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just haven't had a chance to do that.
Yeah.
I talked to him
I
today.
honestly believe the biggest problem is gonna be utilities because of the depth. But if they're shallow enough and we have to go so deep, we can go underneath them. And we would really run into trouble if we have to be right where they're at. And the only way you know that is contact the utilities and find out what their depths are.
The reconstruct, or the embankment, stabilization on Wolf, what is that?
You know where that, the main culvert is, right when you come off of 18, right where the horse place is?
Yeah.
Yeah, to the east, on the east side of that culvert, it just drops right off.
Huh.
And there is a rock wall there, but over the years, the rodents have undermined it to a point where we've poured concrete down in there to kind of stop it. But now, because of that, some of them rocks are moving. So we're gonna wanna extend it out and then put the concrete blocks up and then a guardrail.
I was gonna say a guardrail might be a good spot
Oh,
right
yeah,
there.
yeah. I mean, it's on a straightaway, but you're hoping if somebody does go off, they're just gonna bounce off the guardrail and not down there.
So the
that's something-
250 total, is that minus the 32 that we'll get for a grant?
No, that's
No.
including the 32. So if we take we had 190, and then we add the 32 onto that, We also had 40,000 budgeted for engineering for Hope Lake Road. So if we hold off on that, since we're, we most likely will not construct in 2027, we can use that, that funds for these road projects. And so we would have still some money left over. One of the reasons why we did it this way was because it seemed unlikely, based on feedback after all the grant applications were submitted, that it was unlikely that we would get this grant. So, and it just came in. So we were thinking, what do we do with this $40,000 for engineering? So we put it into this.
Can I ask a really dumb question?
There's no dumb questions.
Well, is there any merit to, Potter's Road is so bad and it needs to be done. But is there any merit to not doing it this year in hopes that there might be better relations with Cambridge the next year to be able to get that to be done? I don't know. I mean, just what I'm hearing here and what I'm trying. So maybe there's some hope that somebody's willing to. I don't know. I don't know if the. So the fire commission has changed. Has the leadership of the village of Cambridge changed?
Yes.
Yes. I don't know. That's.
Well, I mean, if they're willing to pay for doing their section, then we'll ask them to do it, right?
Right. But if they're not willing to.
I think.
I don't know. Is there any? That's kind of coming from a school setting. I'm like, well, people are people and they're strange, whatever. I don't know if there's any thought about that.
I think it's worthwhile to ask them.
Yeah.
I think we shouldn't just put it off without asking them. We don't have to vote today. We can wait until, on the projects, we can wait until May. That's often what we do. And, give them the opportunity to do this, because I feel that, especially being in front of the school with the kids and the teachers using that parking lot, it would be nice to do it this year.
I mean, does it make any sense to offer an olive branch and say, hey, and maybe you do that already, Laura. I'm not, we really think this is an important thing to do. Can you put it in your budget this year? If you can't, can it be a real top priority next year and we wait? I don't know. And maybe that's a silly thing to ask.
No, it's not silly at all. Yeah, that's something that maybe that's what we do. We just.
When you're talking reconstruct on that, because that road was never done right. That was a farm lane when I was a kid. I remember the circus being there, and it would seem like you'd have to take it out and put a decent base in there.
We grind the existing blacktop and use that as
And just
as a
on
new
top
base.
again?
And before we do any paving, we do a load test where we drive with a loaded dump truck and you find any of the soft spots. And then we dig them out and repair them so we don't have any problems. And for the most, we've had really good luck with that, with our town roads. That's a way, because you're gaining 4 inches, minimum 4 inches of extra base.
What are other thoughts?
I say reach out and find out if they're willing to do it.
Mhm.
I mean, either way. If they say no, I mean, we still got to
Still
do it.
That's right. I just, that if they're not willing, I don't know.
We can pose the question.
Well, their section would be the speed bump.
Yeah, it would definitely be a
Is
safer
there's-
approach to do everything.
Yeah, the speed bump is here.
No, it would become.
It's between Blue Jay and Skogan.
That culvert that sinks.
Okay.
This would become their speed bump.
Oh, I see what
You
you're
got the
saying.
beautiful
Yes.
smooth road.
Yes.
You can imagine kids
The
leaving
worst
high
part,
school.
though, is right there, yeah.
I guess if you find out the answer, then we can make our decision. Maybe you can find out.
Well, will you have to ask for bids on this before
I will
our
ask-
next meeting?
When I meet with the county, I'll get some more concrete prices. on this. I was supposed to be meeting with him. He's kinda really busy right now. We're gonna go over this stuff, and I'll have him, separate the villages section. So we'll know exactly what ours is.
Okay.
Same with Blue Jay Way.
Have you rescheduled that meeting? You said you.
No, I haven't called him, cause I'm afraid he's a little busy.
Okay,
He said he was gonna reach out to me if it didn't rain that one day, and then it rained
okay,
all week.
right.
So,
Yeah, it's been a busy time for,
yeah, and I didn't really
Road
wanna
crews.
call, I've been busy, and I didn't wanna call him and say, oh yeah, we can meet tomorrow, and I'm like,
okay. Well, can you please reach out to him tomorrow and then at least give us an idea of when you'd have those numbers, and then once we have more firm numbers, we can.
Yep.
We can send out information to them and see what they have to say. Are we all in agreement with that? Okay.
so we'll have the numbers, we'll have more answers by May.
Okay,
Or May.
all right.
But this is just kind of a heads up, so we kind of know where we're at on basis, and if there was any questions, and I don't want to surprise anybody, so.
So in the budget, let's just say they decide to do it or whatever, and we go through with the 2026. So we got the grant that comes off of that total of 250, right? The grant money comes off the 250 or not?
There would be $40,000 we wouldn't use this year in engineering, that we had taken
Right.
from the road budget
Right.
to put into the engineering, which would be reimbursable. But if we're not doing it in 2027, we could use that money this year.
Right, but the grant, what about
He's
the grant
talking
money?
about the $70,000, does that include?
Oh, that's the total project.
Minus the 32.
Yeah, so our portion of it would be 70 minus 32.
Okay, that was my question.
Okay,
So-
I'm sorry.
So we got 40 plus 32 coming off of the 250 is what you're saying?
Yes.
Oh.
Plus another 32 off of it.
So that's 72,000 coming off the 250. Am I correct?
Yeah, it would be 32 and 40, and
Yeah.
then,
Yeah, that's what he's saying.
yes.
Yeah, the 40 for the engineering and the
Yeah.
32 for the Frito Road, the grant.
Okay. And do we have the money? How, do we have it in the road budget? The 180 or whatever.
We budgeted 190.
Okay, so we should be okay, right?
Yeah, so if you, I couldn't remember the exact number, but if you take the 250 minus the 32 minus the 40, it's 178.
Yep.
So it's less than the
Yeah,
190,
yeah.
so we'd have a little cushion in there if
Yeah,
any
we
of
got a
these
little bit of
projects
money.
are a little
Yeah.
bit higher.
Okay, that was where I was trying to get to is.
Yeah.
Where's the money?
I knew exactly what you were talking about.
Yes, there's cushion.
Yeah, there's cushion.
Let's do it before
Number-wise.
before the prices go up. Let's get this done then. I'll make
Right.
a motion to approve the 2026 road budget, depending on what, what the village says on the, on their road, the Blue Jay Way.
Well, we could still do ours.
We could,
Still do ours.
we
We
could,
still can, yes.
Yeah.
but we gotta approve the money, so how do you wanna,
Yeah, we can,
Just approve.
just prove it as is, regardless if
the-
they do it or not?
Is it, okay, so the 58,000, that's just our portion,
Yes.
And
That's
that's
an estimate. That's
estimate.
pretty close estimate.
so.
Let's
yeah.
prove let's just total, let's approve the full amount of money then, right?
Right.
Right.
So Jimmy made a motion?
Mhm.
I second it.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. All in favor of the 2026 road projects as presented, say aye.
Aye?
Aye. Opposed? Okay. You can go over the other, we don't have to do that now, but you can look over the roads that we have in here through 2031. Of course, it's very fluid because you never know what's going to happen with the road. Some might deteriorate faster than we anticipate, others will hold better. But this is what we have for now. I wanted to just point out that we did put Island Lane in for 2027. Just so you are aware, Joni, we applied for 2 grants to rebuild the public boat launch. And as part of that, a portion closer to the boat launch would be reconstructed. So it's a good time. That road is in bad shape it would be advantageous to do that whole road at the time. So that's the main reason why that one is in there.
I have a question about Mode Lane. Isn't that going to be gravel pretty soon?
It's a roller coaster, but it's holding up.
Is it?
Yeah.
I didn't take a drive out there again.
It's not pretty.
Yeah, I know.
It's not pretty at all.
Well, it's not very big.
I
I mean,
mean,
it's not long.
What's really, it's got some issues underneath because it has potholes, but they're really not broken up potholes, just everything kind of sunk with the forming of some of the hills.
Okay, thank you for.
Thanks, Jeff. One thing I want to say is congratulations, we're 3 for 3 on grants.
All right.
That's awesome.
And
Yeah,
I
good
think
job, you
by
guys.
far is the most
Mhm.
reimbursed,
Right.
70%, so.
That's amazing.
And I do want to, we did thanks to Lake Mills Town Chair for reaching out and asking us to partner with him on this. We had thought about just doing a small portion of the road from A to Crossman.
Yep.
And that would be, just that alone would be close to $300,000. And now we're going to do a whole section, and it also includes reworking the intersection with Britsky, because it's a Y intersection right now.
Yeah, it's a Y, and the state's trying to start
Yeah.
eliminating them.
Right.
For
Yeah,
safety reasons.
they want T.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we could also straighten out where it intersects with 18. It's not too much of an angle, but we could get it closer to a 90 degree for safety reasons as well.
Yeah.
So this is really, we'd have to do that, at least that one section. So this is really great. And so yeah, I think this is wonderful news, and I'll keep you posted for next month if everyone is in agreement with 2028.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were really thinking we weren't going to get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. Okay, anything about the rest of the 5-year plan? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, Jeff.
I'll bring up Hope Road and, North Street.
Oh,
2
yeah,
years from now.
that's right. Forgot about that. Thank you, Jeff. Okay. All right. Now we are going to go into some of our ordinances. Please bear with me for a moment.
Your little cheat sheet was before at the top of your entire stack.
I know. Now I've gotten everything out of order. It wasn't in here, right? These were kind of complicated, so I have notes so we can go over exactly what it is and why we are doing this. Okay.
It was right at the top. Let me go see if I can print this out quick.
Well, basically, we're just taking the fees out of these.
For most of them. For some of them, we are not. There's a couple other changes that are going to be made. I don't know what I...
With this group,
I just want to make sure that everybody understands fully why, like exactly what is changing and why it's changing. My sincerest apologies. Well, I guess everyone take a breather for a second as Wendy gets that back for us.
Well, we can talk about the planning committee thing. You took out if the petition submitted for review accompanies a document that requires a review fee, etc.
Yes, we did do that. I'd just like her to be
The rest is
here.
basically the same as was.
Yeah. Gosh. Oh, here it is. I have it. Apologies. We'll just go on right now. So the first one is ordinance 2026-54, repealing and recreating ordinance number 54, planning committee fee to review petitions request. And so the current $350 is charged in the planning committee to review a petitioner's request. And that was set at a board meeting on June 27, 2022. We just need to get the fees out of the ordinance and reference the fee schedule. And so for that, we decided to remove Section 2 of the original ordinance, 54. You can see it in there that we could not find any other fees in the comprehensive plan ordinance, and only the $350 fee was charged. So you can see in there that, she gave us the original one, that they did have something about another fee, and so we just removed that because there is not another fee. So that was what has changed. And just referring to the fee ordinances, or the fee schedules. So that was the only changes that we would make. We would put this in our Code of Ordinances in Chapter 14, Commissions and Committees. So that is the changes that we would make for this particular ordinance. Did anyone have any questions on that? So Joni, we're trying to get all of fees out of the, I got it.
Oh, did you find it?
Yeah.
Okay. I was going to say, I know it was in there and I couldn't find it.
I got it.
So.
So I just explained what we were doing for 2026-54.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2026-54 as written.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. All in favor of approval of ordinance 2026-54, repealing and recreating ordinance 54, say aye.
Aye.
I have to say which.
Oh, yes, we do have to say in chapter 14, I just mentioned it, commissions and committees. This is where we will be placing it.
I'll add that to my motion.
All right, Jimmy will second
Yep.
the amendment. All in favor of the motion to approve ordinance 2026-54 and placing it in Chapter 14 of the Code of Ordinances, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries.
So if that's where that goes, and fees is just, Chapter 15 is just all the fees.
We do have a fee.
Okay,
We have
I
a fee
won't ask.
schedule.
Good. Okay.
We
I know
will
have a fee
get,
schedule.
yes.
Okay, keep going.
I don't know
Keep going.
what's in the fees. That's just a chapter
Okay.
of the Code of Ordinances that you
Gotcha.
could put it in there. So we will go on to number 12, ordinance 2026-26, repealing, recreating ordinance number 26, municipal judge court code. So you have a copy of that as well, and it shows what we are changing in this. Our judge, Virginia Newcomb, has requested that there is a new state fee that is part of a part of a citation, and she has requested for us to add that to our ordinance, but we would obviously take that out of here and putting it into our fee schedule.
So did Virginia approve that?
We talked to her about this, yes.
The letter originally came from her and went
Right,
to you
I've got
guys
that.
and then went back from there.
Right.
So the letters are FGH.
Right, so Laura Lowry had gone through the entire ordinance, corrected some of the language. She looked at the section numbers from the state that we would need to add. We talked to the judge and the court clerk about the other items. For instance, in bond oath, we removed in a bond in the penal amount to be set by the town board of the town of Oakland. We don't actually do that, so we had changed that.
So do we approve this now or wait until it's actually all submitted to us as a corrected, with the, instead
We
of
can-
the red, you know what I mean?
Well, that's easy enough in Word to just accept all changes, but we wanted to make sure that you saw all of the changes, so it would just be easier for you to understand what was happening. But that's easy enough for us to just, well,
Yeah,
not
when
for-
we make the motion to approve the ordinance, the final copy gets corrected that way.
Right, just accepting all of
Correct.
the changes, yes.
That's what we're doing, is agreeing to the changes.
Right.
So
Right.
it'll read that way when we're done.
Right.
So
that's easy enough.
Like where it says, okay, it's EF is actually F.
Mhm.
FG is actually G. You know what I
Right.
mean?
It's
It
crossed
doesn't.
off.
It's crossed off, so
Oh.
under,
Okay.
It's kind of, I had to look
It was
at that
hard to
twice,
see that
too.
little line
Oh,
across.
okay,
It-
yes.
It almost looked like it was
Oh, I
not
see.
crossed off.
Right.
You know,
Interesting,
and then that was confusing.
oh, okay.
Sure.
Yeah, so what will happen is just that in Word you can say accept all changes, and then it'll get a clean copy of it that we can put into our ordinances.
Okay. If you, I just
mean, if
feel
you
more
wanna bring it-
comfortable if we would actually saw, there's a lot of changes in this one,
Right,
and I don't know,
right. But the program would take care of all of that.
we hope.
Well, what we're doing is we're agreeing to the changes, and if it's different than what we agree to, then we would have to fix it.
But are we going to see?
And we have to go
Well,
back
we
to
will
this
look at it
copy.
in the code book, or wherever you're gonna put these, right?
Yeah, we'd put in the code book.
So it would be up to each of us to actually look at it.
Well, it would also be out on the webpage also,
Right.
Yeah.
out there.
But
Under
this
the
is something
ordinances.
that is in there. It's just tracking it, but all you do is say accept, and then it just gets a clean clean copy of it.
All right.
It's hard to
I'm
trust
just-
the process when you've been an editor for a long time, I'm guessing.
What?
It's hard to trust the process when you've
I
been
know,
an
I
editor
mean,
for a long time.
I come from a real legal
There you go.
background, so
Yep.
it's like, I know.
It worked. They don't even, they probably use Word documents now to do those
Okay,
changes.
I just will, I guess, I mean, I approve all of the changes that I understand are being made,
I can get a
but I
clean
would like
copy
to
in your
be
mailbox.
able
As
to
soon as she
compare
does
the
it.
final, and then have it brought back to the board if I have a
Yeah.
question on it.
Okay, let's do that then. Okay. So then, if anyone would
I'll
like
make a motion to approve 2026-26.
and to include in the
The
Code of
chapter
Ordinance, Chapter 5,
court.
Where does it say?
court and repeal,
Oh, there it is.
court.
I second.
All right.
Okay. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor of ordinance 2026-26, say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay. We will move on to repeal of ordinance number 45 in its entirety, contempt of court procedures and penalties. So the reason why we can repeal this is that the information that is in the small ordinance is actually in the ordinance that we just approved. So it's just duplication of information. So we can just repeal this.
Okay.
We still have to indicate Chapter 5, but there's nothing more that needs to be done here.
Can I try making a motion? Because
Sure.
I've never done this before.
Sure.
I make a motion to approve the ordinance 45, or the repealing of
Yes.
ordinance 45 from Chapter 5 courts.
Perfect. Okay, so we have a motion.
Second.
Awesome.
Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations on your first motion.
And it passed.
Keep it, I'm going to put it up on my refrigerator.
What a something to be remembered by, huh?
My children don't get the whole refrigerator. My grandchildren.
Okay, so we're going to move on to number 14, repeal and recreate Section 3 of ordinance number 16, Board of Review Code. So we have that, and that goes in Chapter 14. And so this ordinance had a mention of compensation for the Board of Review members that was to be set by resolution of the town board at the time. We were not able to find any resolutions or other documents that refer to this compensation. So this ordinance is being amended to reflect the fee schedule that will be a line item for the $50 per diem to be paid similar to the town board and the planning committee meetings.
Yeah, makes sense.
Right, so that is, so we are just, as we had talked about, Laura Lowry had in past meetings that, you know, for many of these ordinances, we're just going to, you know, repeal and recreate the sections that deal with the fees.
Yeah, I don't know why we just don't repeal and recreate the whole ordinance. Now we've got 2 ordinance 16s.
Some of the ordinances get very complicated and do have other amendments, and then it just opens up review of the entire ordinance. And at this time, the main goal is to work on some of the easier ones that really need to have the fee schedules changed. So that's why we're not looking at the ordinance in its entirety.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at our ordinances, we have, what, a dozen ordinance ones?
Right.
And that's ridiculous.
Yes,
Yeah.
that we have to work on for sure, but we were working
And
on.
this, I mean, now
This is
we have
another one
2
that's gotta be
ordinance
reworked.
16.
Well, I think what she's, yeah, what Laura's, what we agreed to do is go capture all the ones that have money
Right,
attached to
but
them,
I
fix them
thought-
first, and then go back and catch the
Right.
rest.
We could do that.
We
just-
could.
Right.
It
But
would
we
just
had
be
dis-
one swipe.
Right, but we had discussed with a lot of them just to amend the portion that was the fee schedule instead of going through the
Okay.
amendment as a whole, because
I
it
guess
does take, this took a long time for Laura Lowry to work on
I
it,
know,
then I discussed
she
it
worked
with.
hard on this.
Yeah, and so.
I'm
you-
just, that's my opinion, that we
Come back to it, yeah.
should have just done one repeal and recreate. But whatever.
We can come
I'm
back
not
to
going to
it.
be on the board forever.
We can come back to it.
I'm up
as soon
next
as-
year.
I mean, let's make the intent to come back to it as soon as we can. I mean,
Yeah,
that solves it, right?
Right, the main thing is just to because you really have to go through the entire thing then if you're gonna do the whole. It's better to,
Well, on short ones like this, it wouldn't have been
Right.
a big deal to just have redone. It's like one page. But, okay, whatever.
okay.
That's my opinion. Plus, as long as we're on the Board of Review ordinance, we do not have an alternate ordinance, Board of Review alternate ordinance that is recommended by WTA. Remember on the training? We should work on that too.
Okay. We'll discuss that with Laura Lowry to work on that as well.
So to have an alternate to fill in if one of you
Right.
was not
It's like
available?
board members are required to be on the Board of Review, but if we can't meet a quorum with, there's, like, the person that's coming before you and you've
Oh,
been
yeah, so you need to
disqualified and
recuse
you
yourself or
end up
something.
without a quorum, then we have,
Right.
Okay.
we need
Okay.
to.
But it
But
won't
that's
be-
almost something you have to do each year because you actually name the alternate from what I looked at the ordinance in the packet
Okay.
that we got. So it's just something that we should think about
Okay.
doing.
We
I've
can
got it
do
written
for the
We've never
future,
done
'cause
that
they-
before.
They would need to be, they would, yeah, we would need to name them. We would probably, do they need to be, they don't need to be certified.
I
They
don't
don't
know.
need to
I would
be.
have to ask
Yeah.
Susan.
Oh,
They'll
only
have to-
one
One person needs to be.
Okay.
to be certified. They do need to be a town of Oakland resident.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
It's in the packet, but it's something that we should think about because we've never done that before. And I've
No,
been on the
well-
board for eons.
No, just in the event that it happens.
Yeah.
I've got it written down so we can look into maybe finding a sample and putting something together.
Right, we can do that.
Do we have a motion on this one? 16?
No.
No?
I move to approve the repealing of ordinance 16 and recreating the repealing of section and recreating section 3 of ordinance 16 and putting it in chapter 14.
Great. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor of repealing and recreating section 3 of ordinance 16, say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, so moving on to number 15, repeal of ordinance 32 in its entirety, regulations of ATVs. So we have an ordinance 66 that was created a few years ago. And so that is the current one that applies. This is a much older one, so there's no need for this.
Right. I'll make a motion to repeal ordinance 32 in its entirety.
I'll second it.
Okay,
Put it in chapter 2, vehicles and traffic.
perfect.
Thank you.
We're all gonna, this is a
She's
brand,
new.
this is a brand new thing for, yes.
You're gonna love me.
You're not tired yet.
I stayed up with a 9-month-old last night, overnight,
boy.
so I'm
You're tough.
I'm dragging.
This is,
9 months is nothing, try a 6-year-old.
Yeah.
It gets worse.
this, just so you know that the Code of Ordinance was just created a couple, were you here for that meeting? It was just created recently, so having to put in chapters is brand new to us
Okay.
too. So that's why
Fair enough.
we're all forgetting about that.
Fair enough.
All in favor of repealing of ordinance number 32 in its entirety in chapter 2, vehicles and traffic, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, so next one is ordinance 2026-64, repealing, recreating ordinance number 4 and 64, regulating fishing and hunting. So this one is another one that's really just a cleanup.
Yeah. Well,
Us.
and this one, we did the whole thing,
Right.
so that
Um,
makes more sense to me.
Yes, well, we had originally ordinance 4 that covered fishing and hunting, and ordinance 64 was supposed to amend ordinance 4 to allow for the use of rifles. So but because of COVID, we believe the wrong copy of ordinance 64 was published, and this was incorrect. Instead of saying we allow ordinance, it went back to or allowed rifles, it went back to the original. No,
I wondered
we
that,
do
'cause I
not.
was reading this, I was like, why does it read that way? You're right, because I remember when we did that. I
Right.
remember Bruce was here and he actually recommended it.
And,
You remember?
And my husband does not like that at all.
Right, so we're just cleaning that up. There is no indication that the corrected version of number 64 was ever published. So instead of having 4 and 64, we're just going to have 2026-64.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve 2026-64, repealing and recreating ordinance number 4 and 64, regulating hunting and fishing.
Chapter.
And chapter, where's that at?
6.
6?
Okay.
Okay.
We have a motion, or a second?
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor of creating ordinance number 2026-64 and placing it in chapter 6, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. All right, we are done with the ordinances. So for now, there should be a bunch every month for quite a while. We will move on to 17, amendment of fee schedule per ordinance changes in the previous 6 agenda items. So you should have a fee schedule that,
I saw it here somewhere.
Yeah. So all the changes that we
They're getting
made are
updated
in
here.
here,
Yes.
correct?
so you
Yeah.
can look through that.
350, yeah.
Yeah, we had the 350 in here, we
Yep.
just needed to reflect that. You know, some of these did not have fees attached to it, such as the last one we just did.
To make it a lot easier to read this document now.
Right.
So, if you guys double checked, I looked at it, I think I'm okay, so I'll make that motion to amend the fee schedule per ordinance changes in previous 6 agenda items.
Resolution.
So I'll make the resolution of 2026-02 to approve.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carries.
So I'm looking at the planning committee thing, and on this one, it does say 250.
Yeah, that's the one that we are.
Okay, it's just,
That one was never updated, right? That's why I
Right,
changed it.
that's the one we
okay,
just
that's what we, okay.
repealing.
I just, okay, we just repealed it.
Right. Right, so it'll be 350. And you could see in here under,
Under the fees that it says
yeah,
that.
it
Okay.
sees that, and you
Cool.
can see in there, like the courts, we have the court fee of the
Yep.
$48 in
Yep.
there.
Cool.
Okay, so, all right. We will move on to Enbridge update. I did talk to Caroline Rice at the DNR. The consultants for Enbridge did go out and collect the surface water samples in the stream, and they did samples with Leanna from the Lake District. They all came back non-detects for all VOCs and PAHs, so that's great news. They submitted, they did do their groundwater sampling for this quarter. They had just received those test results, and so the DNR has not had a chance to fully look at it in great detail, but precursory review of it indicates that the plume and the concentrations are very similar to what they've seen in the past, so that's indicating that the plume is not expanding. So that is also very good news. They've submitted their SVE pilot test results, and the results indicated that this site is a good candidate for an SVE remediation system, that's soil vapor extraction. And so they are going to move forward with that. The DNR has not received the design report for the installation of the new system. It's still expected to be built this summer and then get online. They are also dewinterizing their large riser pipes that are near the spill location, and they will be every 2 weeks extracting free product out of those risers now that the threat of frost is gone.
Free product, what do you mean?
Oil on top of the water.
Oh, okay.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
So they are still waiting on that site investigation report. We thought that would be, the DNR did too, that it would be submitted by now. So I'm not really sure what that holdup is. They're still in compliance, but I will reach out to Enbridge to try to get a better indication because it was expected by now. So I'll see what the new date is and why that's happening. That'll give us they've been submitting all of the information, but it would be great to have it all one report and get a better feel for exactly what's happening for a summary. So I'll keep monitoring the website and talking to the DNR and Enbridge about this, and just update you as new information becomes available. So not too much was happening this past month with them, so that was it though. If anybody has any questions. Okay, we will move on to announcements.
We forgot to put the approval of disbursements on here, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think we can.
It's not on here?
Unless you guys can wrap it in like the next 3 to 5 minutes, I do need to put another break in the recording.
I think we should.
We don't have much left.
You don't have much left.
I'll have to make a motion then to amend the agenda then to add that. We have to approve, we have to approve it, right?
Yeah.
The disburse, yeah.
I don't know how that got removed.
I don't know how it got missed either, but it's definitely missed in there somehow. We made a couple changes to the agenda, and there were lots of things that where Laura was, you have to put this ordinance on,
It
this
happens.
ordinance
Yeah.
on, and
Let's
then
just
take
make
it
a
out.
Must
motion
have
to
just
get it on.
accidentally got
Yeah.
deleted,
So-
because it was on there to begin with. So we just motion to amend the agenda. All in a second, all in favor of amending the agenda to include the disbursements, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Who did the second? Jimmy, you
I made the motion.
I did the second.
You did the second? Okay.
So you have the disbursements on your desk. This is something that Tom always did, so.
Is this,
It's a longer, it's thicker than it normally is, because I was printing out one of these for my
different.
own benefit to begin with. So this has all the detail. I go through this when I'm usually looking to make sure all the checks are right. So normally you guys get a summary with just a line item. But to do it the way Tom does it, you would say from
9:30
last
So,
time.
all
You're
right, I will
confusing me.
move to disperse,
Approve
to approve the
disbursement.
disbursements, starting with EFT 3/21/2026 to the DNR in the amount of $1,053 through check number 2081 to the WTA in the amount of
nope,
Oh, no, no,
missing-
you're
you're
missing two
a
more.
page.
There's another page.
That's the one that was on the desk.
Yeah.
2083.
Here's the last page.
Oh, good grief.
It's almost the last page, and here's the very last page.
Okay. I amended to say through check number 2083 to the WTA/TAC membership dues in the amount of $2,250.25 for a grand total of $222,721.10.
Second, second.
Okay. All in favor of the disbursement, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carries. We have some correspondence on your desk. We have coming up, Coffee with a Cop, that Chief Vanessa Leonard is doing for, Meet the Chief and Moose, their cute puppy. So she's having that on Monday, April 27th at 9 to 11. You all got that in an email. There'll be coffee available, and outside there will be a cookie truck.
There'll be a what? Cookie truck.
Cookie truck.
You know how Laura brings those cookies all the times for elections that her brother does? Her brother, I think it's brother and sister-in-law, are going to bring their cookie truck here for the day.
I didn't know that. Okay. The Fort Atkinson Fire Department has fall prevention seminars, and they are bringing one to the town hall, which is really exciting, for Thursday, May 28th from 2 to 3 here. It's free. There's no sign-up needed. Anybody can attend. It teaches fall prevention, when to call 911, basic injury assessment, medications. I met with the fire department to discuss this. It looks like a great seminar for people who are more inclined to fall. So I hope people will come. I think it'll be great. You can invite anybody you want. They don't have to be from the town of Oakland. They can be from anywhere. So if you think that somebody is at risk for falling, particularly elderly or caregivers, I suggest you encourage them to attend. And then here you go for this.
This one came from Tracy in Emergency Management. This is a way for you to sign up to get notifications from Jefferson County about emergencies that are going on in our area. So having to do with flooding, having to do with tornadoes, having to do with whatever kind of emergency there might be. So they were recommending, and we had this out at election time for people to be able to see it, and it's also posted on the webpage, just letting people know that this service is available to them, and that's the way that they communicate to lots of other responders in Jefferson County, and they've been very successful with it. So that's what that one is about.
Any other ones?
We did get a nice shout out that you can go with correspondence or announcements. Audrey, the town clerk, sent us a notice after the election. We had over 1,200 people come to the election. And we got a shout out on national news about Jefferson County being so quick at getting election results in. So she wanted to thank us and to thank all of the poll workers for the work that we do for her. We also had an observer here for the League of Women's Voters, and she was also very impressed by how smoothly things were running here, how people were getting in, being able to vote. It was all going very well, so she just wanted to let us know that. I sent out information to you about the CPR training that Vanessa has set up. Make sure you let me know whether you're able to or want to attend or not. You're not required to, but she needs a head count for that. So make sure you let me know if you want to come, and you can share it with your employees.
Jimmy, I did tell Leanna about it and told her to share it with her employees, so she's aware of
Good, thank
that.
you.
When
I
was
sent out
that
infor-
again?
I can send you it.
I've got it.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't have it off the
have it
top of
right
my
here.
head, sorry, because she has one date where she's taking officers to do it, and then she has another date set up.
That's at Lake Mills. right?
That is at Lake Mills at the fire department, yes. We also sent you out some information. There's lots of stuff coming out from emergency management about sandbags and flooding and things like that. So I've been trying to pass that along to you guys as we receive it. Also get it up onto our webpage. There's also information about the emergency declaration of no wake on Lake Ripley. We got that posted on the website today. It also went out to you guys, and we went to both the marina and posted it there and at the boat launch. And Leanna said she would let us know, monitor the situation, and let us know when we can take it down.
Yeah, I sent that out to our association too, because now's the time people are bringing their boats in. To the
Right, that
piers.
was something else, just an FYI kind of thing. Jeff was working on the pier yesterday and had some repairs that he had to do on it, but he's hoping to have that in place by Friday. So we've had lots of people coming in wanting to buy boat passes and things like that. So if you have questions from constituents, that is the plan, is to have it ready to go by Friday.
And he is busy collecting the brush for brush pickup this week.
I put some out this first time I did that.
Oh, good deal.
Because
Yes, we've had a few
I'm
calling about
pretty
it.
much
And
on my own these days because of my husband's stuff, but.
Oh, good.
yes, we had a few calling in. One of the guys is like, I live on, I think it's Burr Road or Burr something. It's a dead end. He's like, how am I going to know that they'll get me? I said, just
They'll
give me
get
your
you.
address. I'll text it to him. He'll know to
Yeah.
stop. And
Right. If
send you.
anybody calls in for some reason.
Yeah, I'm
it's
just
missed,
letting
they'll-
Jeff know
they'll
if
let
there's
him know.
anything specific to look for.
But there are a lot of homes with a lot of brush, so that's good. It's getting used, so we're happy to be able to provide that service to our residents. Any further?
Nothing else I can think of right now.
Okay.
We have the Jefferson County WTA unit meeting
Oh, yes.
on the 28th at 7 PM at the town of Sumner.
Busseyville.
Huh?
Busseyville.
Busseyville. I'm planning on going to that because
I am
that's,
too.
I can drive that far at night. And I'm
You're
very
thick down there, be careful.
familiar with Busseyville. I spent a lot of time there when I was a kid.
I've heard of it, but never been there.
That's where
Can't
my
get lost,
They
grandparents
have
only
the,
one block.
they have
Oh, okay.
the tractor pulls.
No.
Okay.
No, that's Utica.
We will get you a copy of that and explain to you about those unit meetings. All the towns are invited.
You'll get
From the
an
town of-
email
from the
them
county.
regularly
Yeah.
once you're on the.
Yeah, we got, her email is all set up, so
It's
you
set
will.
up, but I haven't been able to access it yet, but
Okay.
I'll come and see you another time.
I mean,
Yeah,
not
that's-
email, a mailing. They send it by mail.
Gotcha.
But you also, or I anyway, receive emails from them all the time about different things. And
Yeah.
Right. So, yes.
Plus, are we, the fire commission meeting is the 29th at 7 PM, I think. I will plan on going to that
what's the location?
Christiana.
town of Christiana.
Okay.
Is anybody else interested in going? I'll go.
29th.
We've been requested to participate.
I'm still taking care of 2 small children, and my husband has them tonight, so
Okay.
I will be babysitting. My daughter works that day, so I will not be there on the 29th.
Okay.
It's a Wednesday.
Yeah.
All right. Any further correspondence?
Nope, nothing I can think of.
Okay. We'll move on to future agenda items. So we had some requests. We will look into that and see in future meetings to add some of them on. And
I don't know if I'll get you anything on the cable commission. I'm hoping to get a meeting the first week of May going on that. I don't know
will we consider Tom as still being on as an at-large? He had said that he wouldn't mind doing that, but
Okay.
I don't know if he would.
Do you want me
if
to
he's
contact
still
him
and ask him?
Yes, why don't you contact him and see if he would like to stay on that?
And if he doesn't, then, I mean,
Then
we
we'll-
would still if Cambridge, they had only been operating with 2 as well because their board was down a person. So we would need 4 for a quorum to meet. So
Okay.
if we had 2, and they have 2, that would be enough anyway for right
Okay.
now.
Well, let's see if Tom would like to stay on. If not, we will get something posted on the website for a new member.
Okay.
Okay.
Contact him Thank you.
tomorrow. Okay, yeah. All right, so our next meeting is scheduled for May 19th at 6:30. So we have finally come to the end of our agenda.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. This will